How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the channel. This is Big Daddy Dave, and this is a live stream post episode 13. I hope everybody's having a fantastic day today. It has been a really good day over here. Let's see who's out there that I can see so far. Jody, how's it going? Happy birthday! That's right. Jody's birthday is today, and yes, I hope it was a good birthday for you. I set up this live stream. I told you I'd do it specifically so we could give you the shout out on your birthday. Oh, I hope it was good. Did you, I think you said you were going to a football game today. Did you end up going, or? Just out of curiosity. I think you said it was what, Pittsburgh? Was it Pittsburgh in Tennessee? I can't remember all the fine details, but I thought it was a football game. It was. Oh, nice. How'd it turn out? Well, more specifically, which team were you rooting for? Were you rooting for Pittsburgh or Tennessee? So I think that was the teams that were playing. Not 100% sure, though. But if you're out there in the chat, go ahead and give yourself a shout out. Let me know that you're out there. And then we'll give a few minutes to be able to kind of let everybody kind of trickle in and get this party rolling. Awesome. Glad to hear it, bud. I'm glad to hear it. That's always a good day when it's your birthday, I think. Crimea River, how's it going? Hope you had a good day so far. And like I just mentioned, everybody, it is Jody's birthday today. Go ahead and give them a huge shout out. Wish them a happy birthday. Just really, it is a good day. It's Jody's birthday. We're here. We're gonna have some fun tonight, hang out, and have a good old time. That's what we're going. Not feeling good? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Pittsburgh played Houston. Okay. Hey, Peter, how you doing tonight? It's going really fantastic right now. I had a really good day. We're just kind of waiting a couple more minutes just to see how many more people we can get in the door. Oh, a cold. Ugh. Oh, that stinks. I'm sorry to hear that, Crimea River. That's Was it from the traveling, do you think? You'd mentioned you had to go out of town, so. Yeah, I hope you feel better soon, too. Let's see, we'll wait one more minute and then we'll get this party rolling. That's right, we're doing a birthday stream tonight. Birthday for Jody. Like I mentioned earlier, I specifically set this up. I set everything up so that the last episode, episode 13, would release to members 2 days ago. It released to everybody yesterday. That gave me today to be able to hop on and make sure everything kind of went according to plan to where we can come on and have this birthday live stream. Go see the doctor tomorrow? Oh, okay. Well, hopefully you start feeling better soon and start feeling 100% again. All right, so let's kick this party off. Let's get to this. So, as we're about used to by now, got a bunch of contracts here. I think I got a cultivating contract as well as 2 harvesting contracts, and I've got a whole bunch lined up in the background. So hopefully they don't disappear on me, as these things very often do for some reason. But yeah, we're gonna start making our way through it and start hanging out. Like I said, if you're out there in the chat, go ahead and give yourself a shout out. Let me know that you're out there. And like I said a couple times now, this is a special live stream. This is a birthday live stream for Jody. a big time regular to the channel. I am very, very happy. Again, happy birthday to Jody. Where am I going with this? Should probably check that out before we get going. 98? Where? There it is, out to the west. Oh, it's over by the restaurant. Okay. Yeah, oh, what? Can I leave? What time is it? It's 2 o'clock. I don't think the gates shut at a specific time on this map. Oh, oh my goodness. All right, well, we found another issue with this map. Oh my goodness gracious. You gotta love it. Just gotta love it. All right, let me catch up with the chat just real quick to make sure I don't get too far behind. Let's see. Go see that. Turn 60 in 2 weeks. Crimea River, you're gonna have to tell me exactly when your birthday is so we can kind of set up the same thing for you on this one. We want to have another birthday live stream for Crimea River. So I was starting to say, Jody is a regular to the channel. They're always here. They're always hanging out with us, and just want to thank you, Jody, so very, very much. I greatly appreciate you being able to come on here, being able to hang out for the live streams, all the comments that you do throughout the channel's growth, just everything that you do. I greatly appreciate you being there, and that's why I wanted to specifically come on tonight and make this a big kind of blowout for Jody. Well, as big of a blowout as I can do. Like I said, it's greatly appreciated, you being such a dedicated friend of the channel. So this is the absolute least that I could do. Let's see, but like I said, Crimea River, let me know when your birthday is so that we can do the same exact thing, because I want to make sure that you know, everybody kind of gets their moment in the sun. Appreciate it. It means a lot, buddy. Hey, no problem at all. Like I said, it's the absolute least that I could do. I have so many amazing people on this channel who will sit there and, you know, come to these live streams, be able to communicate with me via the comments and on my Facebook, Instagram, and well, now X. I should try my hardest not to refer to it as Twitter. But on my X page. So I've got, you know, so many people. Jody is one of them who will sit there and, you know, do their best to comment on the feeds and comment on the socials, and just, like I said, I really appreciate every single one of you out there who's able to, you know, just kind of follow along the channel, hang out, and just have a good time with me. Let's see, playing on Bally Spring, nice. That is a cool map. I do like that. But what really kind of tickled me was the recent additions to. Whoa, come on, struggle. You can do it. Come on, little John Deere. I think you can. But what really tickled me was the most recent update to Bucks County, PA. They basically have the same animal system now. Now, I guess there's some kind of issue, at least according to some comments I received here recently. There's some issues with the horses on Bucks County. And unfortunately, I kind of missed out that there were even horses on that map to begin with. For anybody out there who kind of noticed that, I do apologize. Had no idea there was horses already pre-placed on Bucks County. But another friend of the channel, Farming Fan, pointed that out to me, and it was actually so for anybody who doesn't know, Farming Fan will leave me comments every once in a while, and I have to go through and translate them from, I believe, Polish to English, and it's always fun to rely on Google Translate to try and figure out what people are trying to tell me. But yeah, another good friend of the channel, Farming Fan, pointed out that there are horses on that map, and I just completely missed over them. But I did try to couch the fact that horses are applicable or should be applicable on there, but they are the base pre-installed pens and pastures, unlike the ones that you can add in from the mod hub or things like that. They, from what I understand, those work, but if you want to be able to visually see your animals, you won't be able to. So just kind of an FYI. And Jody, I think that also applies on Valley Springs as well. So just so you know, that if you try and place down a animal pen that is not part of the pre-installed pens, they're not coded properly. So what's going to happen is you'll have the products and stuff that those animals are supposed to produce. Like if you do sheep, you'll have wool, but what won't happen is you won't be able to see the sheep. They won't be visually represented on the screen. So just so everyone knows, it's definitely, you know, something to watch out for. But in the end, I don't think it's that big a deal, because they pre-installed pretty much all the pens that are necessary for all the animals. So it's pretty awesome. I do like that update, and I like that we're starting to see other maps other than Valley Spring kind of bringing that into the fold. Let's see. Jody, you're a really awesome guy. I really appreciate. What a good friend. Hey, no problem. And like I said, you're a good friend as well. You're a great person and a good friend of the channel. I greatly appreciate just everybody out there. I say this all the time, that without everybody here on the stream, and without everybody you know, subscribing to the channel and all that, I would be nothing. I would just be some guy yakking it up into a microphone kind of thing. So like I said, I greatly appreciate everybody out there who's you know, willing to hear me and come along for the ride. I really do appreciate every single one of you. But so I wanted to talk about something tonight that I kind of feel is something that we're kind of losing out on in these modern times. And I think a lot of that has to do with the internet and just how life is kind of going nowadays. And what that is self-sufficiency and self-reliance. And the reason I want to talk about this is, here recently I ended up breaking my carpet shampooer, and I was sitting there trying to figure out, you know, what happened to it. And basically what ended up happening is that it just stopped spraying water onto the floor. Well, anybody who owns pets or anything like that has, like in my case, I have 3 dogs, so it's almost essential to have a carpet shampooer at that point. And especially, unfortunately, you know, I think 2 out of the 3 are starting to get up there in age, so they unfortunately won't be as patient as they used to in their younger days. And what I mean by that is they won't kind of wait until it's time to use the bathroom. They just go at their own pace, unfortunately. So that carpet shampooer was a vital piece of equipment around here. So I went through and started to try and diagnose what the problem was. Is it the motor? Is it the is it a wiring that went bad? Did something short out? You know, kind of all this stuff, and it got me to thinking about how, you know, I went through all these steps to try and diagnose, but most people would take that piece of, you know, piece of equipment and just be like, meh, throw it out, kind of thing, and they wouldn't do all the things that I did. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't able to come up with any kind of solution. I wasn't able to track back any kind of problem or any kind of resolution to fix said problem. But it's one of those that, like I said, it got me to thinking about all the things that we kind of take for granted as whether through lack of skill or lack of ambition, we just decide that this thing is no longer usable, whatever it may be. Like I said, in my case, it was the carpet shampooer, but it could be something else. It could be, just about anything. And then it got me to thinking about the whole self-reliance, because what had happened was, the whole reason I was breaking it out specifically was because we're having guests over this week. So I wanted to make sure that the carpets were nice and fresh, and that everything was just kind of, nice and ready for when guests came. And because it's kind of a time crunch and whatnot, when I busted this thing out and it wasn't shooting any water, I was like, oh, well, what can I do? Well, I got the suggestion of, well, why don't we call a company like Stanley Steamer or something along those lines? And it was one of those that I'm like, yeah, I could do that, but it's one of those, I could spend $150 for Stanley Steamer to come out and do it, or I could spend, $200 and get a new piece of equipment, or at first I was, like I said, I was trying to self-diagnose and figure out what was wrong with it. But like I said, it's one of those, long story short, try to be more self-reliant. Try to do your best at figuring out what is wrong with something before you just decide, you know what, this is no longer working the way I expect it to or the way I want it to, so therefore it's junk, kind of thing. And you'd be surprised on how often, it's something simple, it's something small that you could just go through, tweak a little bit or tighten down a screw. Like, perfect example. So way back in the day when I was working out of the office, actually it was before I moved to Georgia, and then 2 years later moved back to Florida. So I was working for the same company, just working out of the office here in Florida. And what had happened is there was a girl in the office who was driving I think a 96, 97 at the time, I believe it was a Ford Thunderbird. Yeah, I think it was a Ford Thunderbird. Well, it was one of the newer ones, new-ish ones. Not the like kind of new ones where they were like rounded and gaudy looking. That kind of the pseudo retro look to them. Anyways, and she had come out and said, hey, I can't get my car to start. I'm like, oh, well, what's wrong with it? I know a couple of things that could be wrong with it. She's like, well, I really don't know. It just won't start. Well, way back in the day, I had an old 89 Mustang, and it experienced the same exact thing. It was fine 1 second, and then the next second, nothing. Like, I would have power to the radio, I would have all the peripherals, but the engine would not even attempt to start. Wouldn't, like, anything like that. So I was digging through and found that on the Mustang, there's a little terminal post that grounds out the electricals for the starter, and that bolt that holds the wire down was loose, and over time it just gets, it just backs itself out. They didn't have any Loctite on it, or they didn't have anything like that, so it was just kind of a flaw in its design, especially for something so vital that could completely terminate the ability of the engine to be able to just turn on. Well, I saw that and I tightened it down, and the moment I hit the key, just boom, just fired up right away. So that was the first thing I thought of. It's like, well, this sounds extremely similar to the issue that I had for my car. So I went out there, I'm looking around, and I'm like, okay. So I found where that kind of grounding wire was on that car, because Fords, for the longest time up until the, I think, early 2000s, were all kind of designed in the same way. Well, I ended up grabbing a socket set and tightened down this bolt. I'm like, all right, go ahead and try it now. And all of a sudden, vroom, just fired right up. And she lived nowhere near the office. She was like an hour and a half drive. Her husband wasn't home at the time, so it was one of those, like, she was extremely grateful that I was able to go out there, was able to take a few seconds out of my time to be able to figure that out. But had I not done that same thing with my car, all those years ago, I would have never have known this. I would have been absolutely useless to her. She would have had to wait till her husband got home, or she would have had to gotten a ride home, kind of thing. And as far as I'm aware, nobody else lived anywhere close to where she was. So either somebody's going extremely out of their way, or her husband's having to come way out of his way to be able to come get her. So it's one of those, at the end of the day, think of it as self-improvement. Think of it as, I want to learn a skill that could potentially better myself and lower my dependency on others, or at its most basic root, can save a buck or two. Learn how to change the oil in a car. Learn how to change a tire. Learn how, not just the automotive aspect, but just any kind of basic thing. Learn how to if you have a clogged pipe, learn how to disassemble that pipe from underneath your sink. Now, a word of warning, don't start just ripping things apart and that's how you learn, kind of thing. Just don't do it like that. Actually take the effort of figuring out how things work in the abstract before you start doing things in the practical, kind of thing, because there's nothing worse than just getting somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, just does a thing because they saw a 5-minute video or whatever, and then all of a sudden they think they're an expert and then tear everything apart, and then it's worse than what they started with. So, but it's one of those things. Take the time, figure things out, because like I said, at bare minimum it can save you some money, to do things like that. And unfortunately today it didn't save me anything. I had to spend money to be able to get this new shampooer, but in the end I'm happy that I was able to go through and try and diagnose it. And what I think is wrong with it is I think there was a short, because unfortunately I had it plugged in during a storm and the house got hit by lightning and all that stuff. So that's my guess. So I'm quite certain there's just something that happened to the vacuum itself, that's beyond my abilities to be able to fix. I don't have the ability to get a new motor. I did test it with some of the with my load tester and things like that, and I just wasn't able to get an accurate reading to the motor itself. There was a couple of what are they called? Not servos. Oh goodness, why can't I think of it off the top of my head? A couple of electrical bits that just weren't pulling the proper numbers as best as I could tell. So I think that there's some blown electrical in it. So all in all, just kind of a, luck of the draw, but at the same time, at least I tried. Let's see. Let's catch up with the channel Let's catch up with the chat and see how everyone's doing. Let's see. That is one of my favorite European maps. Let's see. Farmer Min, you should have just bought a new house with a new carpet and moved in one day. Yes, that's that's certainly a way to go. Unfortunately, I'm limited on the amount of funds that I have access to at the moment. So it's certainly one of those that, although I would love to just burn the place to the ground and start anew, I can't exactly do that. And I unless your last name is Zuckerberg or Musk, I don't know too many people in my personal atmosphere who could just up and move in one day. Oh goodness. You gotta get a Halloween truck. Yeah. So it's funny. So way back in the day, I had like I mentioned, an old '89 Mustang, and This car, oh my goodness. So this is back when I was like, actually, this is the car that I learned to drive with. So I was like 16 at the time when I owned this car, and unfortunately, I ended up wrecking it. Not seriously, but I ended up blowing out one of the brake lines, and I rear-ended somebody. It was only at like 20 miles an hour. It wasn't a bad wreck. They didn't have any damage on their car whatsoever. Amazingly, it wasn't. But it was one of those where it completely crushed the front hood and quarter panel of my Mustang. And it was one of those that I didn't want to go out and buy a new car. I didn't make an insurance claim or anything like that. So just around the corner from me, actually just down the road, there was a old junkyard. And I would go there all the time to get just random parts and bric-a-brac. And I knew they had Mustangs on the lot all the time of my same year, make, and model. So unfortunately, it crushed the radiator and all that. It didn't do anything to the frame, thankfully. And this is, back in the before the whole unibody frames came into prominence. Like most cars nowadays, and it's even like most SUVs, are what they call unibody frames. So the body of the car is actually the same as the frame of the car. It's all kind of integrated into one. To where a pickup truck has a body over frame where the body is attached to the frame. They're two separate things. So when the Mustang got crushed, thankfully it didn't tweak the frame or anything like that. So it's just kind of building back up those main components that broke. Well, at the time, the only vehicle they had was a completely rusted out, terrible looking 89 Mustang 5.0 liter. Mine was a 2.3. It was a smaller engine, 4-cylinder. My mother and father thought it'd be a good thing for me to have, the not so sporty version of the car, even though it didn't make a darn bit of difference on the insurance. Come to find out after the fact. Which, I mean, anybody who's insured a vehicle for a 16-year-olds know that you're going to spend an arm and a leg regardless. But then you technically have a sports car. It was, I guess, quite a bit for my mom and dad to afford the insurance on that. But thank you, Mom and Dad, for for buying me the car, for getting me the insurance and all that. But anyways, so the only thing they had was this black 5.0 Mustang with white racing stripes and the only part that was in good shape was the front clip, the whole front end of it that got replaced. So I took that off. The front hood, everything else was rusted out and nasty looking, because it's Michigan. They use salt, and unless you wash your car every other day, you're gonna have a rusted out car up in the north. Anybody who's from the north and is used to snow year in, year out, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You see those old cars, driving up and down the road all the time. You see them just completely hollowed out and rusted through. It gets nasty and gnarly. Anyways, so at the same time, my car, because it had all the damage in the front, it also had rust damage in the trunk, and it was one of the hatchback Mustangs. Anybody who's familiar with what I'm talking about, it had the big hatchback in the rear. And that was all rusted out on mine, and it wouldn't shut properly because of the rust. The latch was actually kind of broken out. So I would never open the trunk. I would always just reach for things through the back seat to get to anything in the back. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and get the hatchback. And so I got the front clip, the radiator, and the hatchback all from this 5.0 Mustang. So I had a 5.0 radiator, which is twice the size of a 2.4 liter or 2.3 liter radiator. So it would never get up to temperature. So Michigan winters, radiator's too large. I would freeze in that car because the heat wouldn't work, because it just wouldn't generate enough warm. So, but on the back of this old 89 Mustang was a sticker from the old Looney Tunes cartoons of Pepe Le Pew. So I was famous in the town that I grew up in with this little Pepe Le Pew Mustang. It was a four-colored Mustang. It was red, black, white, and rust. It was, but you know what? For my technically my first and third car, because I had one in between, because I couldn't fix up the Mustang quick enough. It was a great car. It lasted me quite some time. Let's see. What is everyone saying there in the chat? What kind of carpet cleaner did you get? So I ended up getting a Hoover. They call it a Smart. Is it Smart Clean Pet? And the reason I decided on that one was because of the. You know what? Why am I just sitting here? I'm sorry. I'm just kind of chatting on and realizing that I could be doing other things while they are kind of chugging along. But the reason I decided to get that is the carpet cleaner I had that died. It was the Rug Doctor, not the commercial, not like what you would go and rent from the grocery stores or Walmart or anything like that. But it was like the normal, like, home version of Rug Doctor. And it lasted quite a while, a few years, as a matter of fact. And it was a really nice little carpet cleaner. But the problem was, oh, you know what? Where am I going with this one? I think. Let's see. What size is this? 28 footer. What size is this? 30 footer. So I'm going to presume that that one's meant for the bigger contract, 51. So let's take the New Holland to 60. Where is 60? Oh, up north. But the reason I got this Hoover is that, similar to the Rug Doctor that I had, the Hoover has a detachable front assembly on it. So the housing that holds the rollers and all that stuff, it will actually come off. And whoa, there's a car there. There's a car. So that all kind of disassembles. And the reason that that's important to me is because what ends up happening after you use a carpet cleaner for so long is eventually that whole front mechanism, the brushes, the little intake valve, like where it actually sucks up the water, the nasty, scummy water, is eventually it starts getting clogged with hair and gunk and all sorts of stuff. So I wanted to have that kind of removable front portion of it so I can actually get it to the hose or get it to the sink and be able to clean it out and keep it in good condition. And the Rug Doctor would do the same thing, but the difference between this Hoover and my Rug Doctor is that once you take off that front assembly where the kind of main rollers are, you actually have access to the rollers and you can take them out. So you can actually clean the rollers, you can like actually maintain it properly, which I'm really excited to see how that is. And based on all the reviews and stuff that I've seen, it had really good reviews on Amazon. It was independent. Yeah, see, that's not opening for some reason. I don't know what's the story with that. But yeah, all the reviews, you know, was highly rated, independent reviews, and people kind of doing mock uses of it. Got real good reviews. So I'm pretty happy with it. And it's got all the attachments and like for carpet cleaner. This one has a little wand in the... Apparently this just became a whole freaking promo for Hoover. All of a sudden, not a sponsor. But the wand, there's the place where you grab the vacuum or the shampooer. It actually detaches from the main unit itself, and what it does is it has this little spot cleaner. It's actually battery powered, so you pull this thing out and you can actually apply additional carpet cleaner with that wand, and then you can put it back in the machine and then use it as the shampooer. So if you got a really heavily soiled area or someplace that's kind of stained, you have the ability to really kind of hit it with some extra, extra scrubbing power kind of thing, which is nice. I think that's going to be kind of a nice addition to the home. At least that's what I'm hoping. And this one, it doesn't have like a main trigger. Like anybody who's actually used a carpet shampooer, you know how there's a kind of a handle on it that you pull, and that activates. Oh, hello. You're not blocked. Come on, you can do it. And how about a bump? No? Alright, so apparently that car just angered it. Oh, man. You gotta love Farming Simulator and all of its little, like, quirks and stuff. It's really is quite hilarious in how some of those things just work. Or don't work. However you wanna look at it. But yeah, no, it's one of those that because it doesn't have a trigger, what it does is on the forward push, it will activate the jets, so it will turn on and start spraying on the carpet, and then on the pull, so on the return, it will actually stop the water and start just only having the vacuum, the suction portion of it. So it's one of those that it's kind of cool in that regard. It works more like a vacuum would, rather than like a actual traditional shampooer. So I'm hoping that it'll be nice, and in the end, that it'll work, and not just end up being junk. That's my hope, at least. But like I said, based on the reviews and based on everything I was reading, it's decently built. As decently built as any kind of at-home appliances nowadays. As he says, kind of begrudgingly. Let's see. Jody would love a '69 Mustang. Oh yes, a nice. The '69, that's the old fastback Mustang, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, that's fastback was '72, if I'm not mistaken. It's in the early '70s, so that's still I think that's still the original specs from back in the early '60s, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, my father growing up had an old '68 Camaro SS, and that thing was such a gorgeous car. It's actually, my grandfather has it now. My dad sold it to my grandfather, and my grandfather ended up turning it into a show car. It was back when my dad owned it. It was a black on black convertible, premium leather seats and the whole 9 yards. They even had the retractable headlights, where not like the sports car headlights where it would be the pop out ones, but it had these little blockers that would just kind of zip in front of the headlights, so it looked like one large grill is essentially what it looked like. But yeah, that was a nice old car. But my grandfather, when he got it, he ended up making it into a candy apple red with black racing stripes, red leather seats, just an absolute gorgeous car. Yeah, just got some good memories. Actually, I got to drive it one time. I was like 17, 18 at the time. My dad let me drive it. It was his pride and joy. He loved that car, and he's like, you want to drive it one time? And we were out in some backcountry, road and whatnot, and I was just so proud to be just driving that thing around, this old, like I said, '68 Camaro, and and it had the automatic shifter, and unfortunately the shifter had a little, or the transmission had a little bit of, I don't want to say issues, but it was one of those where the automatic portion of it didn't really work properly, at least first through third gears, and you actually had to kind of manually uh, shift it, kind of thing. So it had first through third gear and then drive, and yeah, it was just one of those kind of weird, things with that particular car, that you'd start in first, go to second, go to third, and then go into drive once you got out of third gear, and kind of go from there. But oh, it's such a fun car. Let's see. Love the Shelby. Yes, the Shelbys are. Oh, that's such a cool car right there. Nice, nice tricked out Shelby. Ooh. Let's see. What did you have to eat? Like for dinner? What did we do for dinner tonight? Oh, I made chicken quesadillas for my wife and I, and for my daughter, she ended up having some chicken and like some potato hash. I ended up making her some like potato hash. Yeah, it was delicious. Actually, tomorrow we're going to try something new. It's this. Basically, it's a pizza, but instead of like the traditional dough like you would use for with it, like you'd use like eggs, oil, and all this stuff. Instead of the kind of traditional dough, you would use Greek yogurt as the kind of wet agent in the dough, and you mix in some like Italian seasonings in the dough and whatnot, and it's supposed to be like a kind of chicken Alfredo pizza kind of thing, and it sounded interesting. My wife sent me the recipe earlier today, actually, and it's like, oh, that sounds good. I think we'll try that for dinner tomorrow. But no, Jody, going back to you real quick. Other than the football game, did you do anything exciting for your birthday? Did you did you get a chance to open any presents, or did you get to spend some time with some family, anything like that? Let's see. So now that we got this kind of rocking and rolling, let's go ahead and, yep, that's looking good. That's there. Perfect. Let's go ahead and get this all up and running. But you know what? There was something else I wanted to talk about, and unfortunately, for the life of me right now, I cannot remember what it was. So I wanted to talk about that whole self-reliant thing because, like I said, it was just kind of fresh on my mind and just something I got to thinking about. You absolutely love that. I love how Giants added that in. It just makes me, unfortunately, it makes me feel lazy doing stuff like that, kind of in the background. Whoops. Why? There we go. And what is this one going to? This is... Oh, 51. Okay, nice. Makes me feel lazy just kind of slapping it on the trailer like that, but it's one of those, it's so much of a nuisance to get everything out of the way. A minute saved is a minute gained on the back end kind of thing, so that's kind of how I kind of justify it. I shouldn't, but it is. Let's see. Sounds like an awesome car. Yeah, the old Shelbys, those are good cars. Or I'm sorry, the old Camaro. Yeah, I love that car. That was such a cool car. Yeah, it's one of those that so I have actually a very weird dream car, and the only reason that it's my dream car is because I owned one way back in the day, but it ended up, well, I'll tell you what the car is, and then I'll tell you what happened to it. So it's An old 89 Bronco, Ford Bronco is my dream car, and I want to buy one. I want to build it up and make it into brand new. And the reason that I love that car is before that Bronco. So kind of give you my kind of lineage of cars. I started with the 89 Mustang. I worked my way up to an 87 Jeep Comanche pickup truck. That thing was that thing was special. Again, anybody who's familiar with weather in the north will be well aware that it rains and snows quite often, especially when I was growing up. So it's rather interesting to be driving a vehicle that doesn't have working windshield wipers, or at least not reliably working windshield wipers. That 87 Comanche, it just basically decided when and when it did not want to have working wipers. So it made things rather interesting from time to time. But yeah, after the 87 Comanche, and that thing just completely blew up, completely just went bad. Went back to the 89 Mustang after I got that all fixed up. And then after the 89 Mustang finally went out on me, I ended up getting my grandfather's old 1991 Ford F-150. Now that truck, I loved that truck. And there's one feature in particular that I absolutely love, and I wish that it was a thing nowadays, but you never see it, and most people aren't even aware of it being a thing. Is back on the old 89, I'm sorry, that was a 91 F-150, and my 89 Bronco had the same exact feature. But when you have your headlights turned on, most people are used to their brights being on the stalk, and you either push it forward or pull it back. Like most Fords, you push it forward and it locks in place, and there's your brights. But if you pull, like on a Jeep, Chrysler kind of car, you pull it back, it clicks, and then it returns back to center. Then your high beams are engaged. You got to click it to pull back and to disengage the high beams. Well, on the old Ford pickup trucks, and like I said, the 89 Bronco had it and the 91 Ford had it, was this thing on the floor. It was a push button like thing on the floor, and you would step on it and it would engage the brights. And it's just a silly little feature, but I absolutely adored that feature. It was just one of those kind of little novelties that was only in those vehicles, and I've never seen it since. I've never seen another vehicle in the modern days, because they're all on the stalk, and I'm of the personal opinion that there's too much stuff on the stalks on cars nowadays. You got turn signals, you got your wipers, you got your intermittency on the wipers, you've got, cruise controls, you've got all sorts of different stuff, and it's just like, meh. It's especially if anything goes wrong on that stalk, you have to replace everything, and they're so expensive. I've replaced one of those stalks on a what car was that? I think it was a early 2000s Explorer. Yes, it was, and it was like $250 for that little stalk, for that little hunk of plastic. And it was because of all the little controls and the microchips that they had in there that would tell what each one of those kind of turns and switches and things would do. And it's like, holy smokes. But yeah, no, it's if I could get an old 89 Bronco and just fix it up, make it look cherry. And the coolest feature that I loved about the old Broncos was the fact that you could they had a topper on the back of the SUV, and you could actually take out like several screws on each side of the topper, and you could roll down the rear window into the tailgate, and then you have basically a pseudo convertible SUV. And yeah, I used to love that car. It was such a cool truck. But so that thing met its end shortly after I moved to Florida. So, and this is how bulletproof they used to make vehicles back in the day. Back in the day, when I drove that car from Michigan to Florida, there was a rear axle leak on that truck. So the transaxle, which is the housing that holds all the gears that sends power from the engine to the tires in the rear. That housing is supposed to have oil that lubricates the gears in that rear axle. That gasket had blown right before my trip, and I had no way of being able to save up and fix it, kind of thing. At the time I was working, the retail jobs and stuff like that, so I wasn't making tons of money and all that stuff. And this is way back before the whole fight for 15 and all that, fun stuff. But so it was one of those where I had to basically fill it up with the axle oil and then drive, and then every pit stop check to see if it was still had oil in it. Well, by the time I had gotten from where I was in Michigan to my first pit stop, which was maybe a couple hours away, bone dry. Every drop had just been gone. Just nothing. So it was one of those where I was like, okay, so I have to drive less and check it again. So from Michigan to Florida, where I am, it was roughly a 19-20 hour drive. Well, imagine having to stop every little while just to put more axle fluid in. Well, eventually I get to the point to where I'm stopping every 20 minutes to see if I have any axle fluid in there. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Every single time. It's dumping out as fast as I'm putting it in. So I made the decision, it's like, well, I can't keep stopping. I'm going to just dump all this oil out on the road. That's not cool. So it's one of those, like, I'm just gonna drive. Just gonna drive. And not only did it get down from, at that point when I made that decision, I was in northern Ohio. It got from northern Ohio to Florida with no rear transaxle fluid. It didn't complain not once. It just did it. Well, I then drove it probably a year or so after getting down to Florida. And the time it finally died, when I decided, okay, I need to get out from under this car, is when it finally developed a hole, actually 3 holes in the oil pan. Again, northern truck, you're gonna get rust, and that's what happened. Is the oil pan rusted out and leaked 3 holes all at the same time from the oil pan. I was actually sitting in the McDonald's parking lot, and all of a sudden I'm just sitting there, just minding my own business, getting ready to order, and then all of a sudden I hear tick, 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 tick. I'm like, oh, that's not good. Engine off. Turned it off right away, and I'm in the drive-thru, just parked there. I'm like, oh, well, I can't sit here and just hold up the line, kind of thing. So I fire it back up and drive it back to my house, which was just down the road at the time. And I pull in the driveway, I turn it off, and I go to my dad, and I'm like, hey, can you help me check this out? Because it just started ticking all of a sudden. And we climb up underneath it and see that there's just no oil. Like we checked the dipstick, nothing on the stick. And I'm like, I know I just did the oil change. I know there's oil in this. So we climb up underneath, and that's when we see 3 holes in the oil pan. And it's like, oh. So we ended up taking it up to Ford uh, the next day, and we ended up using it as a trade-in for a new truck. I got it was an '06 Ford Ranger at the time. So yeah, it was that. Like I said, that would be my dream truck is going back and getting one of those and just building it up from scratch, just starting, you know, replacing everything, fresh coat of paint, fresh engine, fresh transmission, 4-wheel drive, locking front differential. That's what I want. Let's see, Jody, what do you got to get done on the farm? So there's nothing really going on per se at the farm, but oh hey, that's ready to go. So things that I want to do at the farm are get my pigs up and running. I want to get them, which means I gotta be able to have a way to manufacture pig food and all that stuff. I want to have a more reliable source for the silage that I have for the BGA there at the farm. But that means that I have to have a more reliable source for the silage coming in, which is why I made the 2 grass fields um, in the east and then in the west. So long story short is I think I have the kind of intake starting to get settled out. I'm not 100% certain as to how much that's going to produce. Oh, that's all done. So let's go ahead and collect on that. Let's see. Other things I want to get done or do around the farm. Oh, hey, I should probably move that over too. Now see, now that that contract's complete, let's see if that side gate opens now. Like I said, there's just these weird kind of flaws. See, look at that. So it's something to do with the contract being active. So weird. So weird. I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, there's certain, like, issues and stuff that I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Like, I can at least picture as to why that issue is occurring. There's an XML issue, or there's some kind of funny business happening that isn't necessarily, you know, going to be easy to code or got overlooked kind of thing. Not a huge deal, but it's when those little things like that happen. It's like, okay, how did that happen? How did that just work in such a weird way? Oh, I'm not gonna make it in time. Nope. We'll just catch that again. So no, what are some other things I want to get done around the farm? So, oops, hey, I'm trapped. So I want to start considering upgrading some of the equipment. You can see I've been upgrading the main farm equipment and got all brand new grass care stuff. But I want to start looking into getting new seeders, well, I mean, the roller is fine. That's not an issue. I still have to get a trailer. I haven't had to have a trailer yet, so it's one of those that, you know, I'm either using contract trailers or things like that. I need to start looking into utilizing some of this product that I have here as well. You know, I've got 14,000 liters of corn that I have no use for right now other than trying to just hold on to it for when I do have use for it. You know, I'm getting ready to have a whole bunch of rye that's going to pop up here, and I think this is done next month. So, going to have to harvest this and use it for something. I'm not exactly sure what I can use the rye for at the moment, but I was just, okay, I want to grow some rye. It's something that's unique to the map, and why not? Kind of thing. I mean, I've got the sheep that are pretty much good to go. I've got, oh, hey,
So I'm gonna have to load a bale over here soon. Well, not soon, but gonna have to. Uh, Give them water and whatnot as well. So what else? So yeah, I want to get the pigs up and running. I'm gonna have to figure out what kind of pig food mixer or pig way to produce the pig food. We've got the whole issue with the storage for the grass and whatnot all solved over here. Now that we've got the cows kind of up and running, they're producing all the things that they can produce, like milk and slurry and manure, which, I mean, they're chugging along. I think it's only been like 2 in-game days, which is, the equivalent of 2 months. But you can see 3,000 liters of slurry. I think I've got like 3.5, 4,000 liters of manure. Or no, the 2,300 liters of manure. So I mean, they're producing a pretty good clip, only for 12 cows. So that's not too bad, I think. Um, and really, outside of that, there's not a whole lot I want to do per se for the farm. I want to start expanding and getting more property throughout the map, and being able to figure out ways to kind of diversify things that I can do in order to, generate that income. Oop, we got a full harvester now. Come on, little Veltra. There we go. Perfect. It's getting there. It's getting there. You can do it. And okay, that's 64%. That's not bad. Let's go ahead and get another contract. We've got $4,000. Yes, please. So where was that one at? 88? 88. Let's see. Jody, I'm planting some soybeans. Nice. Yeah, soybeans is a real good cash crop, but the only problem with soybeans I find is one, their length of time to grow, especially if you have seasons on. They take a fair bit of time, and you don't really get a good yield out of them. So yeah, you're making a real good amount of money per volume that you're getting, but because of the lack of volume, you're not really able to get like a huge profit off of them, at least relative to other things. And there's not a lot of things that you can really utilize them for other than, like, let's say pig food, or for with certain mixers and things. So it's just one of those kind of, I don't often go for soybeans unless it's kind of later in the series, in the let's play, or unless I'm specifically looking to get them to just use them as a cash crop and be able to sell them off as soon as they're the most profitable kind of thing. So just one of those, not one that I really get too deep into with the soybeans. Now I know there's some production points on the mod hub that'll utilize soybeans, like to make soy water, or was it soy milk, uh, and things like that. But it's one of those that, again, between the amount of time and the amount of profit that you make from the upgrade to the new product, I found that it's not that worth it per se. But let's get over here. I don't know why, but I keep seeing this field and it just looks really weird. Like, I'm looking at it on the map and it's because it's all kind of, I don't know, cattywampus is probably the best word I can come up with. Let go. There we go. Okay. So here, let's go empty out. Oh, so it did miss some. So go empty this out. All right, perfect. So we're gonna just drop this off, and there we go. Nope, wrong way. No, what are you doing? Take a quick drink. Oh, much better. Much better. Oh, I really wish I could remember the last thing I wanted to talk about on this stream. Ugh, I hate it when I do that. I need to get better about writing things down. Because one of those things, it's like, oh, I'll remember. It's not a big deal, you know. And at the time, I'm like, oh yeah, this and this. These are the things I want to talk about on stream. And then ends up working out to where it's like, nope. Brain's like, nope. That other thing wasn't as important as you thought it was going to be. And it's not important. I shouldn't say it like that. But it's just one of those like, eh. And the worst part about it, I'll say this, the worst part about it is I'll remember exactly what it is I wanted to talk about the moment I click the button to end the stream. That's what's going to happen. Just mark my words. And you know what? I'll leave it. If that's the way it works out, I'll go ahead and I'll post it on my social medias and be like, yep, this is what I wanted to talk about. Because that's how it works. That's just how it works with me sometimes. But gotta love it. Just gotta love it. But, oh, you know what? That was something else I wanted to talk about with the whole self-reliance too. Is nowadays in the times that we live too, there's really not a good excuse not to be able to do certain things, like to be able to do small projects around the home, or to be able to do, you know, the like I mentioned, changing oil, or in your car, or just small simple tasks, and to kind of harvest them out, to send it to a mechanic to do an oil change, to have somebody come out to the side of the road to fix a flat tire, kind of thing. Like those things, like, should not be a thing. And the reason I say that is because they're super easy, and oftentimes they cost hundreds of times more than what they probably should cost. And in the age that we live in, with YouTube and just the internet in general, it's so easy to learn things. It's so easy to be able to just pick up your phone and to search a video and it's like, okay, well, how do I change a tire, kind of thing. Okay, well, you leave the car on the ground, you take off, you don't take off, but you loosen all the bolts on the ground, then you jack it up off the ground, but you got to make sure that you place the jack, depending on what you're using, on a certain spot in the car. Once you get that certain spot and you raise it up off the ground, then you can finish unscrewing all the bolts from the tire. Once you get all the bolts off, you can then take the tire off, switch the tire on, and then by hand tighten up all the bolts onto the tire. Once it's all hand tight and it's seated down properly, then you can take whatever object you have, whether it's an air gun, whether it's crowbar, whatever, or hex bar, whatever. Then you go in a star-shaped pattern, going opposite side to opposite side until the tire is tight. But make sure that it's tight, but it's not over-tightened, especially if you're using an air gun, because you might just snap the lug off, and then you're then you're going to be really sad. But it's little things like that. Every single person should have, at bare minimum, the knowledge to be able to do. And then if you choose, like, okay, well, I'm going to spend my hard-earned money on getting somebody else to do it, well, then fine. But yeah, that's it's one of those, because of the times we live in, and things just kind of being kind of being the way they are with how prices are going and everything being so expensive, one of the things that you can do to save money is to figure out ways how not to have somebody else do things for you. Now, there's certain things that you absolutely should have, somebody else do. Don't do your own home electrical. Don't do that. Unless you've been properly trained and you are an electrician, you know, don't do it. Just leave it alone. It's one of those that there's certainly certain things that you shouldn't get onto YouTube for. Electrical is one of them. But no, for little things like changing your tire, for changing your oil, if you lose something down the drain, I've heard so many stories. Oh, here's perfect example. My sister-in-law a while ago asked me to change a filter, an aerator, out of their sink, and they had unfortunately, these are the way that things are going nowadays, is that things are being designed for one-time use kind of thing, and sinks nowadays have the built-in aerators where you need a specific key to actually disengage the aerator, and anybody who's worked or has used the faucet over time, or the same faucet over time, knows that eventually they become clogged, they get lime scale buildup, and they don't work as much or as well as they used to, so you have to either change out the aerator, or you can soak them in lime away or something like that and be able to get all the gunk and debris out of them. But yeah, so she'd asked me, hey, can you come over and do this? My sink isn't working as properly as it should. And I'm like, all right, well, before I go over there, why don't you go ahead and just tie off some CLR or some lime away, in a plastic baggie, and let it soak, the faucet head kind of thing, to see if it's a lime scale buildup, and it's just over time, especially here in Florida, lime scale is really, really bad in the lines down here, and also sand and loose debris and stuff like that, because Florida is nothing but sand. So yeah, it's one of those that I'm like, do these things first before I come over and check it out. And she did it and soaked it overnight, and there was no improvement whatsoever. I'm like, okay, well, more likely the aerator's clogged and it just needs replaced. So I told her, it's like, take a look at it, and you should be able to twist it off by hand, and be able to get a new aerator from Home Depot, and you're good as go. And she's like, no, I can't. There's nothing to grab onto. And that's when I looked at it and saw, okay, well, it's got one of the built-in aerators, and you need a key for it. So had to go on Amazon, buy the key, and unfortunately it didn't come with the right key, and she didn't have any of the paperwork she didn't have any of the paperwork to tell you what size key it needed, or that she didn't have any of the original parts or anything like that. So it was one of those that basically we had to use a key that came with it just to make it work, kind of thing. So even though it wasn't the proper fit, it was one of those, with enough time, patience, and power, we got through it. But I ended up taking the aerator out and opened up the tap, and it just, a whole bunch of crap and debris came from the line as soon as I did that. So I pointed to the sink when she was standing there, and it's like, yeah, that's all the stuff I was holding back at the time. So somebody must have flushed the lines or something that led to her place, and just created a bunch of gunk that flowed through. So I told her, go ahead and soak this in CLR for a day or two, and then reinstall it, and you should be fine. And sure enough, she ended up soaking CLR for, I think, 2 or 3 days, and after the third day she reinstalled it, and poof, just flowed like brand new. but she was going to call a plumber, and the reason she called me is the plumber quoted her like, I think $150, and I think $50 of that was like the charge just to go out there and diagnose it, kind of thing. So it was just one of those, you know, if you can get away from other people doing work for you, kind of thing. That's gonna be my bit of advice for the stream. And like I said, that's only reason I'm really kind of harping on it is just because of what happened to me with the whole vacuum situation. So yeah, long story short, be more self-reliant. Jody, what is your favorite crop? I'll be honest with you, Jody. I don't necessarily have a favorite, but I do have kind of go-tos. Um, and the reason I don't necessarily have favorites is because there's really kind of a time and place for all the crops. Um, so typically I'll start out with like a wheat or barley when I first start playing, just because it's one of the easiest ones that, and oftentimes one of the ones that's, you know, you're best set up to handle right from the very start. And also it's, you know, pretty good at being able to kind of get you going with chickens and things like that. But then there's also like oats and stuff for, you know, horses, which also can yield more, and well, not necessarily yield more, but you can get more from it if you do like the auger that makes seeds. You get a kind of a better yield for oats rather than barley or wheat. Um, I don't know. It's one of those. I could tell you my least favorite. My least favorite product of the game by far: potatoes and sugar beets. I cannot stand either one of those products, and the reason being is because of how long it takes to harvest any of them. Now, with the recent additions of the Colossus pack and things like that, it makes it so much easier to harvest and to be able to do sugar beets and potatoes than it used to be. Because the old harvesters, they only hold like 30,000 liters, and you fill that up in like 2 passes of even a medium-sized field. So it's just one of those. That tends to be one that I try to avoid. Oh, hey, this is all done. Let's take a look at the map real quick and see how this looks. So zoom in. So let's go ahead and hit these couple little spots here. Zip, get that. I think there was another spot down here that had some too, wasn't there? If I'm not mistaken. No? Was it only that spot? Okay, apparently I'm just imagining things. Let's see. Oh. Hey now, easy. Okay, let's go ahead and load this in. There we go. Okay. Oops, there's a header there. Now, 51, where is that going? Farmer's market. Okay, so just down the street. That works. Actually, 2 out of 3 are going to the farmer's market. Nice. That's just down the street. So, 10% of 21,000, that is 2,100 liters. So, that should be what I get after all this. Is roughly 2,100 liters. So, that's a pretty good amount of oats. I'm happy with that. What about you, Jody? What's your favorite crop? Is soybeans your favorite, or well? If I'm not mistaken, wood is your favorite crop. It seems like every time I talk to you, it seems like you're talking about how you want to go all lumberjack. But no, seriously, what's your favorite product in the game? Let's see. Let's go here. One that I've been really kind of liking to do here lately is silage, making like turning corn into silage. Ooh, there we go. So 1,746 liters, so a little bit more than what I was hoping for, but didn't pass by too much. All right, let's get this back to the farm. You know what? Let's just open this up. Let's pose this to everybody. Everybody out in the chat, tell me what your favorite crop is. What is your favorite? Do you like potatoes and sugar beets? Am I the weird one who doesn't like potatoes and sugar beets? Do you like wheat, barley, corn? Go ahead and throw it out there in the chat. Let me know what you think. Like I said, I'm rather curious, and also tell us why. Tell us why that's your favorite. And go ahead and throw in your least favorite as well. And again, tell me why. So we'll go with, I tell you what, for sake of argument, I'll go ahead and start it off. Least favorite is the, I cannot stop. Least favorite would be potatoes and sugar beets. Those are tied for my least favorite. And most favorite, I'm going to go with, let's go with barley. Let's go with that, because that's a good starter crop and allows you to really kind of take hold of chickens and all that stuff. So yeah, let's go with that. Like I said, everybody out there in the chat, anybody who's listening, go ahead and throw in the chat what's your most favorite and least favorite products and why. Let's see, so now we're going to round the corner, get back to the farm, dump this off. I'm not going to collect on this contract just yet until all the contracts are done, because it's quite possible, even probable, that I took the wrong bits of equipment to the wrong fields. I do have a really bad habit of just accepting contracts one after another and not paying attention to what piece of equipment goes to what contract. So what I don't want to have happen is, you know, if I took the wrong piece of equipment to the wrong field, then I accept it, then all of a sudden I have nothing at that field that like I've actually had like full harvesters just disappear. Just all the product that was in them just gone because I accepted the contract because I took the harvester to the wrong contract. And yeah, not good at all. So, need to adjust a little bit. I'm sorry, hold on just 1 second. I will be right back. Alright, sorry about that. So, let me get my screen set back up. There we go. So, let's see. Let's pull this around and we'll pull right here. Perfect. So, Jody, one more thing. Like I said, sorry for cutting out there for a second. My wife's getting ready to go to bed, so wanted to go ahead and wish her good night. But so I ended up mentioning that I set up today's stream specifically to celebrate Jody's birthday. Was telling that to my wife, and she wanted me to pass on a message to you, Jody. My wife says happy birthday. So just wanted to make sure that I do the good husbandly duty and pass that message along. So again, everybody out in the chat, today is Jody's birthday. If you haven't already, feel free to go ahead and give him a shout out and let him know, hey, happy birthday. And hope it's been a great birthday so far. Let's see, let's go. Ooh, that's still chugging along, looking good. Let's see, so this field is good. Why am I switching? Okay, so this one's done now, but I likely won't get everything into one container, so if that's the case, not the end of the world, but let's see how it works. Yeah, this is probably too much. Yep. Oh well. Alright, so this is field 60. So where's this going again? Also the farmer's market. Okay. So that's kind of a bummer, having to come back to this field. Not a big deal though. There are certainly worse things in the world than love doing logging. Yes. Yes, I know you do. I know it, bud. I know it. But so let me ask you this, Jody. Is there like a specific technique that you use to do logging, or do you like to use like the big heavy machinery? Like, do you just get the like the harvesters and the wood trailers and things like that, or do you just like prefer to do it by hand with the chainsaws and some of the like maybe front end grapplers, things like that? You know, what kind of like, or do you just like it in general? Do you just like all aspects of the whole logging landscape? So canola oil, is that your most favorite or least favorite? I don't know what it is, but I'm really thirsty tonight. Gotta make sure you stay hydrated, especially when you're talking this much. I noticed it the last stream too, where I'm sitting here and talking so much that my throat's getting dry, and it's only started happening here recently. Like, first several streams I did had no issues whatsoever, but the past two streams where I've been really getting parched. I don't know why. Not a biggie. Let's see. So I think I had like 3,000 liters left at the harvester, maybe 2,000 liters. So I'm going to keep my hand over the trigger just to make sure that we don't miss out on any, because more rye is more better. And as Dust Bunny reminded us in the last stream, which, again, shout out to Dust Bunny, words are hard. Oh, goodness. That's by far one of my favorite sayings, is words are hard. Whenever I get tongue-tied or anything like that, that inevitably comes, you know, to the front of my mind. Okay, so canola is your favorite, and least favorite is sugar beets. Okay, okay. Yeah, I'm pretty close to you there. Like I said, probably gonna go with barley. And now, out of curiosity, what specifically about the canola makes it your favorite? Because it's one of those that I know you can use it to make oils and some mixing recipes for like pig food and things like that. But now the one cool thing about canola that I do like about this game is one of the plants where you can actually have a bonus if you have bees on top of the field where you have the canola planted. So if you have if you have a beehive within X amount of range of said field, you get, I think it was like a 5 or 10% bonus to your yield, which that's really cool. I like that. Um, I can't think of the other products, the other crop types that'll do that. I know canola is one of them. I cannot remember the other ones. But if you have a field and you can put some bees around it, there are crop types that will give you a production bonus or a yield bonus from the bees being around there. So if you weren't aware of that, you are now. Oh, maybe it was here that I was thinking about that didn't have, nope, still the wrong buttons. Let's see, so we're up here. Maybe it was up here where I was thinking that we were missing out on a bunch of product. Let's go grab these real fast. Not missing out, but like not harvested the whole field. Like there was chunks missing. Let's see, so it looks like over here. Let's see. Miss Tutu, hi, how you doing tonight? Thanks for joining us here at the stream. Hopefully you're having a good day so far. Let's go ahead and leave that pipe out. We'll go ahead and drop this off. Let's see. Xbox Series S. Nice, nice. Fellow Xbox user. I appreciate that. And I'm certainly not here to spark off the console wars in any way, shape, or form. Because I know that some people get really heated about that. I don't understand why. Why people take it so serious as to, you know, PlayStation versus Xbox, you know, kind of thing. But Espanol. No, I don't. Unfortunately, I don't speak any Spanish. Well, that's not true. I speak a little bit, very broken Spanish, and a lot of it's just kind of fragments that have left themselves over from high school when I took a couple of semesters of Spanish. You know, nothing too great is stuck with yo inglés, no. Oh goodness. That's your English? Is that my English? And you're from Mexico. Okay. Well, hey, we greatly appreciate you being here and, you know, hanging out with us tonight. Like I said, hope you're having a great day so far. Huevo. Ooh. Now we're starting to get into words that I'm not familiar with, or cannot remember from back in high school. But yeah, like I said, that was a long time ago when I took Spanish, so not Xbox or PS5. Yeah, like I said, I have an Xbox Series X, but it's one of those that I feel like the consoles are so close nowadays that it really doesn't matter. What I think matters more than anything nowadays are the kind of exclusive games or the exclusive titles that you can get with said games, and even those are kind of making their way out to out of the past kind of thing. Is those kind of like, those exclusive titles. Like MLB The Show is a perfect example. MLB The Show used to be on PlayStation exclusive. I have a cousin who would play or plays that game every single year it comes out, and he would get a PlayStation specifically because of that game. And this either last year or the year before, MLB The Show became cross-platform. It was the first time they did that, and he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna get an Xbox now. So he ended up getting an Xbox Series X so we could play together. which that ended up working out really nicely. Uh, Xbox Series S, FS22. Yeah, FS22 works really good with the Series S, Series X, and the current generation consoles. They work really good with the old gen too. Uh, you know, really happily enough. Uh, use the Platinum expansion. Yes, the Platinum expansion for was a really awesome uh, expansion for those who really are into the um, logging side of Farming Simulator. The the Platinum expansion was, I think, a long overdue update that was needed, uh, because it made it to where even people like myself, because logging isn't like my most favorite activity. I'll do it, and there are times where I want to do it because there's certain activities that I want to, like, there's certain things I want to do in order to be able to clear out certain landscapes and whatnot, and open up fields and things like that. But yeah, that update was so nice because of the harvesting, the auto tracking on the harvesters. Oh, is that such an amazing thing that they did? So happy that they did that. Um, let's see. Most favorite canola oil? Yes. Yeah. So it is nice to be able to make the oils and whatnot. And now, because we got all the stuff in the mod hub, we're able to really kind of, you know, really kind of venture out and really do a lot more stuff with items like canola and whatnot. So that's really cool to be able to utilize them. Ooh, ooh, ooh. So Miss Tutu, just out of curiosity, what part of Mexico do you reside in? And don't feel obligated to answer that if you don't want to. Just like I said, just curious. I I here recently have had members join the live streams. One I had from South Africa on not the last live stream. I think it was the live stream before that, um, which that was really cool. And then I found out that one of the channel members, Deco, is actually from Sweden. If my memory serves me right, I think it was Sweden. And I think it's amazing being able to talk to people all around the world is just, again, something that I think is such a cool thing. And being able to talk to, like I said, to folks like Jody, Crimea River, who are just a couple of states away, and being able to talk to people all across the world is just something I never anticipate doing on this channel. So it's just a really cool kind of bonus. So like I said, I'm curious, but don't feel that you're obligated to answer, kind of thing. Let's see. So we're going to unload this. And now that we actually got those two contracts complete, I can collect on those because I know that the equipment was sent to one of those two. So collect. Nice. Now let's do this one. That's 88. Wait. No, this is 88. Oh, 69. Okay. Nope. Or 69. Oh, that's up in the corner too. There we go. Let's go ahead and slap this together. I absolutely love doing that. It's like I said, I started saying this earlier, but I feel cheaty doing that. Like, kind of just slapping it on there and then having it auto correct it for me. But it's one of those, it's such a cool feature, especially from FS19, where that was all done manually, and it was such a nuisance. If you bumped that that header even the smallest bit, it sent that header just flying off into the distance, and you just had to hook back up to it, put it back onto the trailer. Like, this is such a massive improvement that I'm totally on board with being able to just have an auto stick kind of thing. So yeah, I'm a fan of that. That was a well thought out update. And that's honestly one of the things I absolutely adore about this game and Giants in general is it really does seem like Giants listens to the community and does their best to try and address those kind of issues or those little heartaches. Like, so for example, I've said on this channel several times I'm a huge hockey fan, and I used to being the key word, play NHL series by EA Sports every year, and it was so, it was, let me pick the proper words again. Words are hard. It used to be so, I don't want to say bad, but it used to be so prominent in my world of gaming that as soon as midnight, the day that the game was released, like I would take off a week from work, play it nonstop, all day, all night kind of thing. It was like that was my thing to do every single year, year in, year out. And what made me kind of just fall out of love with it and just really like, I didn't buy it this year. I haven't even bought it. I haven't even looked at the newest one that they just put out. But what really started making me like really fall out of love with those games is it was literally getting to the point of it being repackaged year in, year out. It was the same exact game, the same exact um, kind of stuff over and over and over. Like it got to the point to where um, what was it? Was it 20, I think it was 21, 22, and 23 all had the same game mode, which is common. It's called Be a Pro. That's the one I always would play, and it's basically you'd create a character, and then you would take that character from the minors and put them into professional leagues. Well, eventually the game started actually kind of getting a little bit story based, story driven, because it got upgraded to what's known as the Frostbite engine. The Frostbite engine was a very specific uh, engine for the sports games where they could really kind of delve into storylines and kind of get into that whole aspect of the gaming world. And it was far more efficient for that kind of computing, processing, and all that stuff. Well, in I think it was 21, 22, and 23, that game mode, that story that they did was literally the same thing year in, year out. There was no difference whatsoever in the storyline, in anything. So it was literally just paying $60-$70 for a roster update. That's what it boiled down to. And then it started getting political. There was a bunch of stuff that had nothing to do with the world of hockey that was getting thrown into it. And it was just, I eventually got to the point where I was just done. Like, I don't want a game to preach at me when I just want to play it. I play games to disconnect from them, to disconnect from the world and reality, kind of. Not, well, I shouldn't say from reality, but just to kind of disconnect and just to be wrapped into the fantasy kind of thing. So like when I play Farming Simulator, like to play for myself, I'm playing as if I'm the farmer. I'm having to make those kind of decisions and decide what's best for my farm and how to best grow and all that stuff. And that's how I try and do my storylines as well, is try to, kind of approach it from the farmer's point of view. And it's like, okay, what can I do to help the operations, to make myself grow, to be bigger, to be better, and so on and so forth. And that's, I think, what most people end up doing when they play this game. Well, if Giants were to come out and start saying, oh, well, there's certain things going on in the world today and we have to care. We have to throw these things in there. I think there would be a lot of people out there be like, you know what, I don't want to be preached to, and that's what ended up happening to me with that game. Um, so all that to say, you know, I really, and that was the other thing, is that you would want EA to really incorporate certain aspects of the game into the game. You know, their catch line used to be, if it's in the game, it's in the game. Meaning that if it's in the game of hockey, then it's in the NHL series. If it's in the game of football, it's in the game of Madden, kind of thing. And so on and so forth. If it's in the world of soccer, aka football for those around the world, you know, it's soccer for us people here in America. Um, then it's in the game of FIFA, you know, so on and so forth. So it's one of those that them going from that to all of a sudden just not really caring what the fans think, because they know they're going to get their large base of people who are going to pay for the game no matter what. And I used to be one of them. Well, I got to the point where I was just tired of it. I was sick and tired of spending my hard-earned money on something I didn't care about. So, or not that I didn't care about, that just was being less and less built with me in mind, kind of thing. But to where, and by me I mean the consumer, kind of thing. But Giants, I feel like they listen to their communities. They make it to where it's a game that is, the consumer is first, and I love that. I absolutely love that about this game. All right, so let me catch back up with the chat real quick. Do you do a Halloween prank on the wife? Ooh, you know, so there have been times where I've done very small pranks, but here lately I haven't really had an opportunity to do pranks because, well, for example, last year my wife was pregnant with our daughter. Well, not last year, the year before. My wife was pregnant with our daughter, and now my daughter is almost 2 years old. So it's one of those that we really didn't have. I don't have a good way of doing a prank that isn't going to also negatively or potentially negatively affect my daughter as well. So it's one of those kind of, I have to be very tactful. I have done things in the past where I've pranked her, like so little insight about her. She absolutely hates frogs. Her biggest fears are frogs. And I cannot tell you the number of mornings where I've been in the house and doing something in the house, and she goes to leave, and all of a sudden she lets out the biggest shriek, and I could hear her from inside the house outside. And turns out there's a frog on the car, or a frog in the door jamb of the car. That was one. And I told her, it's like, you know, heaven forbid a frog somehow actually makes it into the car with you while you're driving. And I legitimately, I mean this, I genuinely fear that she would just completely give up at that point. She would just yank the wheel and have one of those Kelly Clarkson moments, you know, Jesus take the wheel moments kind of thing. Just throw her hands up and just, that be all she wrote kind of thing. I genuinely fear that. Let's see. Hillbilly Farmer. Hi, I'm Dust Bunny's 54. Oh, Dust Bunny 54's sister, and she is sorry that she couldn't be here. She has sold her house and moved in with her son. She is, whoops, some of that message is blocked because of how YouTube is. She's just too tired and hurting to be here. Oh, well, Hillbilly Farmer, I greatly appreciate you showing up and letting us know that. And hey, thanks for showing up on the stream. You know, hopefully we can see you here more often too. How are you doing tonight? Hope you're having a great day so far. and let Dust Bunny know that, you know, we're happy that she was able to sell her home, and hopefully that she gets a chance to kind of, you know, kind of hang back and relax and whatnot. We got to talk to her on the last episode, or not last episode, the last live stream that we did. Um, yeah, like I said, hopefully she's kind of able to take a deep breath and just kind of be able to kick back and relax from here. I know she's got a lot of stuff going for her. She was mentioning how she's building a space, and that's going to take some time and all that. Hopefully, she doesn't run into too many issues with that. But no, it's great to meet you, Hillbilly Farmer. Let's see. There we go. Clean up what we messed up here. I thought I got over far enough to where I wasn't going to miss out and leave a big chunk like this, but Hillbilly Farm, I'm doing good. I will tell her, yeah, I hope so. So too. Hasn't started yet. Yeah, so it's depending on where you're at. I know there's some places, whoops, button, there we go. I know there's some places that are having like building issues and stuff like that, and some places are worse than others. So like I said, I hope that doesn't happen to her, and that she's able to get that done as quickly as possible. She was saying something like a I think she said a 700 square foot space or something like that. So, you know, hopefully that's not like too big of an issue for a contractor to be able to get out there and just get it up and running for her, kind of thing. I mean, you figure, what, 700 square feet, that's... Why is my brain not working right now? Yeah, so... But also, I know it's going to depend on, like, you know, builders and codes and all that kind of stuff, so it's all kind of, you know, dependent on that stuff as well. Let's see... Jody, I play NFL. Yeah, so it's one of those that kind of going back to the whole EA thing. It's and Madden did this as well, and it's just the whole kind of quote unquote preaching that they do. Like before you even sign on to the game, they have these messages that all of a sudden just kind of pop up and start talking about things that have nothing to do with the game, kind of thing. It's all about things that are actually happening in real life, kind of stuff, and it's really annoying to me. Like I said, I play games to kind of quote unquote disconnect from the world, not from the world, but to kind of get engrossed with the game itself, not to be slapped in the face and reminded, hey, care about this social issue, hey, don't do X, hey, don't do Y, kind of thing. It's like, well, I don't do X and I don't do Y, so why do I have to be reminded not to do those every single time I bring up the game, kind of thing. It's just, it's just awkward and weird to me. I don't like it. I don't like, you know, being preached at from a video game, kind of thing. Paying $70, $80, $90, and depending on what version of the game you get, it could be like $120 for the game, kind of thing. You know, I don't want to pay for the pleasure of, you know, being brought up on the most relevant quote-unquote social issue of the time. It's just not something I want to deal with. Let's see. I'm a subscriber. I usually just lurk. Yes, that is correct. They just need to get started. Well, hey, you know, I'm really grateful that you joined us here tonight, that you let us know how Dust Bunny is doing, and that you're not just kind of sitting in the background, that you're here with us and hanging out. Like I said, it's one of those that we try to just, you know, try and have a good time on these streams, and try to just... Oh, sorry, I just looked up at the wrong time. I looked up right at the moment when the harvester started slowing down, so I was like, wait a minute, what's going on? Why am I slowing down? Oh my goodness. Well, like I said, I'm glad that you're hanging out with us tonight. That you're letting us know who you are, and that's you're with that you have a close tie to one of our regulars. You know, that's awesome. We're making this a family affair. I love it. I absolutely love it. So, oh goodness, I don't know why, but it was just, I just so happened to look up because I was looking down at the to kind of give you a little understanding of how my setup is. I've got my main TV where I'm playing, the game in the background. But off to my left side and just in my periphery is where I have my computer, and that's where all the text and stuff from the live stream is going on. And I was looking off to my left to see what people have written, and then look back to my right. And just as I was kind of looking back to the screen to kind of see what was going on, that's when I realized, like, hey, I'm slowing down. What's going on? It took me a second to realize, oh, it's because you're full. Oh, goodness. Jody, I love using Fast Harvester. Yes, yes. So there's so many good mods nowadays that really allow the use of fast farming. So a really good mod, if you're not familiar with it, you can use any of the harvesters for this, but if you have the Colossal pack here will allow you to do that. You can actually harvest up to 60 miles an hour with the Titan header. That comes from the Colossus pack. You also got the Draper header here, but there's, oh, you know what? I don't have it installed. So anybody familiar with it's called the Tool Height Control pack, and what that is it has the same basic in-game headers that we're used to, but it allows you to kind of adjust the height manually of the headers, and once you kind of bring the height of the header up just ever so slightly, boom, you can go as fast as the harvester can let you go. So little fast farming tip for anybody who's looking for it. Ooh, we are done with this field, it looks like. Nice. Let's check this one out just to make sure that, oh, it looks clean. Besides this little patch right here. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so hopefully I can get this all into... Ooh. I say hopefully, I'm thinking not. We're going to have to make another trip. Oh, and I left this on. Oh, well. Now, where is this going? We're on 88. Where are we going here? Ooh, the grain mill. I don't think I've been to the grain mill. Where is the grain mill? Where are you? What product do I have? Oats? Oh, wait, the grain mill's up here, isn't it? It's here by the shop. Isn't this? No. Oh, there it is. Yep, right there. Grain mill. Ha ha ha. By Joe Watson, I think he's got it. For anybody who's watched me for any amount of time will know by now that as the stream progresses and as it gets later into the evening, I tend to get a little bit sillier as the evening goes on, and a lot of that's because it's kind of approaching bedtime, and the more tired I get, the more silly I get. We'll put it that way. So yeah, that's when we start coming up with the funny stuff for the channel. That's I think that's when things like Wiggle Bottom Tractor, thank you Crimea River for that one again. Also Jasper, I think, came from a late night session. Jasper, the friendly ghost, the friendly farmyard ghost. gotta love it. Just gotta love it. But speaking of Crimea River, let me go ahead and start this and throw this out there real quick. I want to give my shout outs for all my channel members, starting with Crimea River, who was the original channel member. Thank you, Crimea River, so much for being a channel member, continuing to be a channel member. You're working on your 3rd month, I believe, as a channel member. You've recently upgraded with the badge that will be the Little Massey, if I'm not mistaken. Little Massey Ferguson badge. So looking good, looking really good. Oh, hey, there's a gate and it's closed. Let's go ahead and open that up. Let's also give a shout out to Mark K, being the 2nd channel member. Thank you, Mark K, so much for being the tier 2. And last but certainly not least, the most recent channel member, Deco. Thank you very much for being a channel member. Ooh, can I make my way? Thank you all so much for being tier 2 members. I greatly, greatly appreciate every single one of you. And if you want to be a channel member yourself, you want to take a look at some of the kind of perks and stuff that you have access to, like custom emojis, custom badges, early access to edited content like the Let's Plays and the bloopers. Well, I should say shorts. You know what? I do that way too often. I say bloopers because that's the most common short that I have, but I do have other types of shorts. If you want early access to those, you can get those by being a member. We have different plans and prices, so you can be a tier 1 member for 99 cents a month. You can also be a tier 2 member for $4.99 a month, and the benefits for tier 2 obviously aggregates based on the tiers. So you get everything that the tier 1 gets plus a couple of little extras. So yeah, if you're interested, and all that money goes to support the channel, to help us, maintain and to continue to grow the channel. And is there anything else I want to say about that? I don't. Yeah, like I said, I just want to make sure I reiterate, thank every single one of you for being channel members. Like I said, it's very humbling and very honoring for every single one of you who are out there, who are members of the channel. Let's see. Did you earn the contract trophy? Jody says. I'm not sure if I have. Honestly, I've never really looked into the trophies too deeply, because it's one of those, like, they really don't like amount to too much, as far as I'm aware. I mean, I don't know, do you get anything besides just a kind of a little badge for trophies? I don't think you actually do. Let's see, so we're gonna fill this up and go drop this off. How many contracts do we got going right now? We got just the 2. Okay. And then Jody, yee. I don't know what I did to deserve a yee, but I'll roll with it. That's okay. Let's see, so let's take this back to the grain mill. Let's see, 7,200. I delivered a full load, and I wish I was paying attention to what the full load was. I think it was like 20,000 liters, give or take. And then I got a bunch of lappings from Jody, so not gotta love it. Just gotta love it. I tell you what, I really enjoy hanging out with everyone here tonight, and it just in general, I really do have a good time. I have such a good time just, getting to interact with everyone, having these kind of chats, sometimes having serious conversations, like I said, about the being more self-reliant, as I was mentioning earlier. Having serious conversations about that, having the semi-serious about the EA issue that I have, and having to get zapped out of the gaming realm kind of thing. I just enjoyed hanging out and chatting with y'all. So it's been such a blast tonight. I've had so much fun hanging out tonight, and just in general, every stream I've done has always been has been fun, and I'm really hoping, and sounds like at least Jody there always have a good time. So yeah, it's one of those that I hope everybody's having as good a time as I am, because I tell you what, if people are having even a small percentage of a good time as I have on these live streams, then I think we're all having a good time. So at least I'll have my fingers crossed on that one. You know, hopefully everybody's having a good time. 89, so we're at 90%. Oh, now I'm just getting twitchy. There we go. Wait, what? Oh, the other contract's coming here too. Okay, well, might as well dump it out. Oh, there we go. So let's see. Let's go ahead and we'll just park this over here, I guess. Oh, hey, there's a fence. There's a fence. Oh my goodness. So I know I mentioned this a while ago, and we just got done talking about channel membership, so I just wanted to make sure that I don't lose sight of this, and if anybody's at all curious about this. But I mentioned a while back how I'm looking into channel merchandise and things like that for the channel, and it's still coming. I'm still kind of doing my research and trying to get certain things kind of lined up before I kind of go live with all that. Oh, darn it, I missed it. Well, we're gonna drive into the crop. That's all right. There we go. But I just want to make sure that if anybody's out there and is looking for something like that, that is coming, that is in the pipeline. Like I said, there's certain things that I have to get first before I can get that kind of up and running. But it is in the works. It is still, still coming. I'm sorry that it's taking so long, but it's unfortunately that part of it's kind of outside my realm of control. I kind of wish that it wasn't, but it's one of those that yeah, like I said, it's just things that are outside of my control at the moment. So hopefully we'll be seeing something like that for the channel pretty soon. Let's turn that off. We don't need that running at the moment. And go ahead and complete that. Okay. So that should... Oh. Alright, well, for some reason, it decided it didn't want to harvest this end of the field. At least not properly. That's alright. Let's see. Look forward to your live streams. Hey, well, I really appreciate it, Jody. I really do. Like I said, you're one of the people, you, Crimey River, Dust Bunny when she's not selling her house and trying to build a new one. You're one of the most reliable people that come to the live streams, hangs out, interacts. So I greatly appreciate it. And like I said, anybody who comes to the live stream, anybody who's a subscriber, channel member, all that, I appreciate every single one of you. There's a reason why I put out thank you videos for all the subscribers at the 100 intervals. There's a reason why I make such a big deal of everybody who comes to the live stream, everybody who's a member, there's a reason why I do that. It's one, to show you just how grateful and appreciative of every single person I am that's out there. But it's also to kind of, let you know just how deeply important you are to me. And more than just, being subscribers, being on these live streams. Like, just in general, just having people out there to kind of hang out with, to have fun with, and to have a good time with. like I really enjoy doing these streams far more than what I thought I was going to. When I first started these streams, I didn't know just how much fun they were going to be. I've said this a few times, and for it to have turned into something that I genuinely look forward to doing. I genuinely love to just sit here, hang out, and have fun with everybody, having a good time playing the game, doing the contract work, the kind of quote unquote busy work in the background, while being able to just kind of hang out and have a good time. I really do love it, and I really do cherish it. So, again, thank everybody who's here tonight. Thank everybody who's a subscriber. Thank everybody who's a member. It is amazing. And I keep saying it. We're building, I think, the best community of any community out there. You know, I don't tend to hang around with too many other communities, so I don't have a lot of, you know, room for comparison kind of thing. But, and this may be because we're still really small in comparison to some of the other communities that are out there. But I don't experience anywhere near some of the things, some of the horror stories that I've heard from other content creators, some horror stories from other just people in general kind of thing. We don't experience that here, and it might be because of our size, it might be because of either my personality or just the way that things just kind of generally operate. But I mean, that's all kind of anecdotal, maybe, I don't know. Whoa, yeehaw. Don't you love it when you can take a, I don't know, 20-ton piece of equipment and just do a complete 180 spin with it? Oh my goodness, I love it. I just love it. And then Jody, love some of your merchandise. You know, I'm trying so hard to get everything kind of lined up with it. Like I said, there's one last hurdle that I'm trying to overcome with that. So it's one of those, as soon as that hurdle is crossed, then I will, you know, likely it'll be something like a Teespring or something along those lines. Oh, are you serious? 241 liters. Oh, you just gotta love it. You gotta love it. But like I said, it'd probably be something like a Teespring or something like that, to where it's a third-party vendor, to where we can kind of post the channel merchandise, and anybody who's interested can go out and, you know, either, you know, I'm hoping things like hats, shirts, hoodies, you know, just the kind of general kind of stuff that will, you know, just let you know that that you're representing and supporting the channel, kind of thing. So here's hoping. Hopefully I can get that last hurdle kind of, you know, out of the way, and once that last hurdle's out of the way, then we can really start kind of opening up the taps and, you know, start doing things. And I've got some really cool ideas to be able to do, like I said, hats, t-shirts, and hoodies, things like that, that I think people would really kind of enjoy. And I would really much rather have that as a kind of avenue for people to be able to get something out of them, to have something that's actually tangential, that's actually in their grasp, kind of thing. You know, and don't get me wrong, I greatly appreciate everybody who supports the channel, who does the memberships, who do the super stickers and things like that. But it's one of those that if I can give something, or have it available as to where something is actually available in the real world, that's something I want to do. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those that I don't like the concept or the thought of the whole kind of digital, what are those things called, where you can buy like a digital picture kind of thing. I forget what they're called. There's an actual name for them, and it just, I don't like them kind of on their face. like the kind of concept, because you don't actually own anything. You just own this kind of thing that you don't have, that you don't actually like, can't touch, you can't feel, you can't do anything with it, kind of thing. Um, so having that kind of, you know, physical thing, I think would be like something that I would feel better about. And like I said, there's been several like super stickers and things like that, and I greatly appreciate. Really appreciate anybody who does those kind of things. That to me shows that you truly believe in this channel and that you believe in me. And again, I greatly appreciate it. But I would much rather be able to have, you know, somebody have a T-shirt for that money, have something that they can actually have that's of the channel, and more than just, you know, hey, let me support you with this kind of thing, or let me support the channel with this kind of thing. I don't know. I hope that all kind of makes sense, and how my kind of mindset and how I, ooh, hey, pay attention to what you're doing. I'm not paying attention. I'm worried about talking, not about not about the game. Anyways, Jody, I love to have a T-shirt. And like I said, I'd love for you to get one. I would love for them to be out there and available. Like I said, it's. I don't want to get into the specific details as to what's holding it up right now, but it's one of those that once this hurdle is done and over with, that'll be the next step, is getting it, you know, getting the store, getting it uploaded, and going from there, kind of thing. So fingers crossed, we'll get there. It's just going to take time. And now that I have successfully, and unfortunately for far too long, have plugged the channel and whatnot, but at the same time, I've, let me just say it one more time, because I genuinely mean this. I greatly appreciate every one of you. I really do. For being subscribers, being members, for just being awesome people. I feel like in the world today, it's so hard to find good people in the world. It's so easy to find bad people. To find people who are either just wanting to ignore you, or wanting to just not, who would rather step on you than to step over you, kind of thing. I feel like it's so easy to find those kind of people, but it's genuinely hard to find the people like yourselves who are genuinely good people, who are, you know, just along for the ride, kind of thing, and are just looking to have fun just like me. So the fact that not only have we found, whoa, not only have I found, you know, one person like that, I found several people like that. You know, a good many people like that. And like I said, we're building this community one day at a time. I'm working very hard to make sure that, you know, this is an amazing place to be, that we're all here to have fun, and that kind of, like I said, that previously stated ugliness doesn't hopefully rear its ugly head. I'm sure one day it will, kind of thing, because this is the internet, and all things are, you know, all bets are off when it comes to the internet, unfortunately. But oh, sweet, it stayed running. But when that day happens, we'll address it as appropriately as possible and go from there, kind of thing. But again, thank you all so much. I really greatly do appreciate every single one of you. Every single one. Now that I've gushed for as long as I have and have kind of brought this stream to a standstill. Whoa, there's a car. Whew. Okay. Breathe. Exhale. It's okay. It's just a game. You T-bone a red station wagon, you're not going to, not going to jail. You're not. Oh, goodness. I think it was not the last stream, but the stream before that, I was telling everybody about what had happened with uh, car accidents and stuff that I had been a part of, and my wife and whatnot. It's wild how after you are involved with an accident, how much your driving style changes. I was thinking about this after talking about it on the last, or whatever stream we would mention that in. And it's wild in just how much you change after that kind of event. And I think that's kind of like generally stating on any major event that occurs in your life, something about you just fundamentally changes. And so, kind of give an example. After I got into the car accident with uh, the driver that T-boned me, and my wife was in the car, my unborn daughter, was in the car as well. It's one of those that I became far, far more defensive on my driving, paying much more attention to people who are crossing into streets. If I'm in a intersection kind of thing and I get the green light, I'll wait a few seconds before going, because you don't know who's just going to go blasting through this red light kind of thing. So if you give it a couple of seconds before, because I used to just get on the gas and go. I used to just punch it right through the light and whatnot, and it was just one of those that I didn't think too much about it. But I've really kind of grown and gotten a better appreciation for the defensive driving, especially now that I have an almost 2-year-old daughter, kind of thing. And I should have been more appreciative of defensive driving. There was me, there's my wife in the car, and my wife is extremely precious to me. I've got tons of precious cargo, including myself, in the vehicle, kind of thing. So think of yourself as precious cargo. Regardless of what kind of like driving habits and stuff that you have, learn some defensive driving techniques. Again, this I don't know why this stream has turned into me kind of giving advice on this stream, but I don't know. It's just these kind of things just kind of popped up here recently, and it's gotten me thinking. But think about that defensive driving. So there's a perfect example of defensive driving. Around where I live, there is a series of roundabouts. And I don't know what it is about roundabouts all of a sudden just being a thing, but where I grew up in Michigan, there was a bridge that went over the main highway that our town was kind of centrally located around. And this bridge was by the kind of quote unquote built up area of town. And it was just a straight shot. You'd go, it's just a normal bridge, no big deals kind of thing around this bridge. Well, after I had left whoa. Okay. So, note for next time. Don't accept contracts too quickly. Roger, check. I will make a note of this because, yeah. Anyways, so this bridge kind of, just like any normal bridge, it would lead from one side to the other. Well, after I had left and had visited, like a few years after I'd left, for some reason, not so, you know what? I'll be nice. Somebody got the idea to make not just one, not just two, three separate but conjoined roundabouts. And so imagine this. On whoa, can I get to the hitch? No, I cannot. Oh, that's gonna be an issue. Can I bump it? Nope. Well, so like I said, three separate roundabouts. So on one side of the bridge, there's one roundabout. On the other side of the bridge, there's two roundabouts, and the two roundabouts kind of lead into each other. And nobody understands how this roundabout's supposed to work. And they really don't have it clearly laid out, so they've got these little markers in the roadway kind of thing. And it tells you, okay, well, you need to be in this lane to be at this exit, you need to be in this lane for this exit, and so on and so forth. Well, I don't know if people just think that these are just hieroglyphics on the ground, like ancient Egypt kind of, Rosetta Stone kind of stuff, but nobody understands it. I drove through it one time. I'll never do it again. But in my local area, they decided that, hey, we want to use a roundabout. And every single time that I use this roundabout, I go for the third exit. Well, traffic is coming from the main road on what would be my second exit. Well, I cannot tell you the number of times that people have just blown right through the stop sign or the yield sign. What? This is number 9? Oh, that's right up by the farm. Okay. But yeah, I can't tell you the number of times that people have just blown right through the exit, not paying any attention to traffic that's in the roundabout or anything like that. And it's yield signs. There's yield signs all around there. They'll just drive right through it, not paying any attention. And one time I almost got hit. The only thing that stopped me is that defensive driving and realizing, okay, this person's coming up a little quick. If they don't stop, I should slow down. And I slowed down just enough to where all of a sudden they just came blitzing through, didn't even tap the brakes. But had I not slowed down, they would have hit me at every bit of 35, maybe even 40 miles an hour kind of thing. And it's one of those that my wife was in the car, my daughter's in the car kind of thing. I don't care about my car. I don't care about it. It's a piece of iron and plastic and steel. For all I care, melt it down, scrap it. I don't care. I don't care. I care about my daughter. I care about my wife. And it's one of those that if somebody were to just carelessly be driving, all of a sudden just completely broadside us, I would be furious. I would be more angry, not at the loss of the car, but that they endangered myself and my family. And yeah, it's just one of those that if there were more people out there worried about the defensive side of things, there'd be far less accidents, there'd be far less lives lost and just people devastated. The best comparison I've ever heard is that when driving a car, you are driving a couple of 1,000-pound bullet. And just like a bullet, you have to be responsible with where you're aiming it. And it's one of those that I wish that people were more sensitive to the fact that you are driving around this large machine, and that if you're not fully paying attention to the road, if you're sitting there on your phone, or you know texting somebody, or doing whatever, doing anything besides driving, it's one of those that personally drives me nuts. It personally drives me absolutely insane when I see people just sitting there texting on their phones, and not caring about anybody else besides themselves. It's one of those, it's their world, you should be thankful enough to just exist in it kind of thing. It's that kind of mentality and that kind of attitude that I feel like people have when they're texting on their phones, and they're fiddling around on their phones or whatever. I don't know. Long story short, I wish people would take driving more serious, because it can be extremely dangerous. Actually, kind of a really personal experience that I had. I actually lost a cousin. Sorry. Lost a cousin to somebody driving a car. She was crossing the street, and somebody didn't see her or whatnot. It was late at night, and she ended up getting run over in the middle of the street. Now she's a mother. She I don't think her and her husband were together at the time. I think they were just recently separated. But I mean, she's a mother, and all that stuff. And now, her son gets to grow up without her, kind of thing. And oftentimes people don't think about the consequences of their actions until it's too late, kind of thing. So it's one of those that I can tell you from personal experience that you don't know how your decisions are going to affect somebody else. You don't know how your lack of attention can negatively impact you, how it can negatively impact somebody else. So just play it safe, play it cool, kind of thing. It's one of those that my cousin and I, we weren't terribly close, kind of thing. We were, but it's still family. It's still, and it's more the loss of her being able to be a mother to her kid. That's honestly probably the worst part about it. The most devastating part is knowing that there's now a little boy in the world who can never see his mother again. And it's sad. It's terrible. But anyways, enough of the sadness, enough of the kind of bleh. Let's get back to the happiness. Let's get back to the positives. So, oh my goodness, I need to sit up real quick. It's the only thing about the chair that I'm in. It's a recliner that I'm in, and you sit in a certain position so long and you get really stiff. But then, like, I feel like if I don't sit in that position like I just was, I don't feel like I'm talking into the mic just right. Like, even though it looks like my levels are fine, it's not a big deal. It's just one of those, it's weird to me. Like, it just, I don't know. Kind of a different angle, something I'm not used to. Anyways. Oh, my goodness. But, let's see. Gonna do this contract. We got 16. Holy smokes, I didn't even realize it's already 12 o'clock. Where did these 3 hours go? Or 2.5 hours? this, it's really true. Time flies when you're having fun. It really does fly, and it's so wild to me just how fast our time comes and goes here. It's crazy. Like I feel like I just started the stream. And here it is 2.5 hours later. And we're still going. Wow, I can't believe it. That's crazy to me. That is just crazy to me. I'm blown away with that. That's that late. Anywho. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna get one more headland in, and then we'll set this worker off, and then we'll get working on the other contract. How many more contracts? 3 more contracts, 2 more harvesting? Let's see. So let's go and resale cereals. So that's west of here. And then the farmer's market. So we got... Ooh, we got barley. Ooh, that's nice. That'll be good for the chickens. See, just like I was saying earlier, barley and the chickens. Like I said, we're going to do the second pass in this headland, and once we're done with that, we'll be able to kind of go along and work on the next field. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. You can really see just how much torque is on that header right there. Now, there are those harvesters, and there are mods to where you can see how that's kind of pitched, so it's slanting down to the left. There are harvesters out there that will allow you to keep your header straight because it pitches with the terrain kind of thing. And there are mods that are set up that way, and I don't have any of those downloaded at the moment, but you can see just how not flat that header is. Like you can see just the gap that's between the ground right there on this side. I mean, I'm certainly not complaining. I just one of those that again, the kind of technology aspect that I've talked about several times before just makes you realize that there's so many people out there that are so much smarter than, like, at least for myself. There are people out there that are so much smarter than me. Oh, hey, I'm full. Oh, did I seriously? I left it over here. Well, at least I'm in the JCB. That'll go relatively fast. Let's see, where was I again? Number 9. Oh, here, you know what? We're just going to set this up to go. And we can get the other sets of equipment going over as well. There's no sense in... Oh, that's over here too. Okay, well. Let's, can I get it to recognize here? Maybe. Come on, AI. I think you can. I think you can. Oh, yeah, it's going. It's going. Love it. Love it. When the AI works, I don't... let me know if any of you are the same about this. But when the AI works, I'm so happy. Like, I get, like, visibly excited. It's like, hey, I finally did it. What it... Or blah, blah, blah. Words. Words. Words are hard. I get visibly excited when the AI works the way that I expect it to work, and it just brings a smile to my face. It's like, yay! Whoa! Don't do that. Did you all just see that? Look at that. Okay, I've heard of helium deer. I've said it numerous times that we pointed that out. But can everybody see that? There's a tire mark just in the air. Giants, I love you. I love this game. Just those silly little quirks, those little oddities that just pop up every once in a while. Just, I love them. I just absolutely love them. And here, we'll get the worker to do this one too, because, ugh, 13 miles an hour just does not sound appealing. There we go. Go back here. Huh. Normally they give you 2 trailers. I don't think I can ever recall only getting 1 trailer like this. I'm not saying I haven't gotten it before. I can't recall off the top of my head when it's giving you 1 swivel axle trailer. Take a drink real quick. Oh, so much better. So yeah, I think what we'll end up doing is, I think we'll end up finishing these 2 contracts, and then we'll likely end up calling it an evening, because, like I said, it's 12:11 right now, and yeah, it's going to start getting to a point where I've got to start thinking about getting up for work in the morning. And that's if my my daughter doesn't want to wake up at 5:30 in the morning like she's been doing here lately. I don't know what happened. My daughter, she is so good about sleeping. She is, like, just the other day, perfect example. We put her down at 9 o'clock at night. That's her normal bedtime is 9 o'clock. And she didn't end up waking up until 9:10 in the morning. My wife and I were actually starting to get concerned that she hadn't woken up yet. So her sleeping for almost 12 hours straight really just blew us away. Like, she does really good at sleeping, but that's a lot even for her. Like, normally she'll be sleeping until 7, maybe 8 o'clock. That's kind of her normal. It's between 7 to 8 o'clock. But here lately, she must be going through like that sleep regression, because all of a sudden she's like 5 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, just all of a sudden for no reason whatsoever other than I'm awake. And thankfully she's still good enough to where we can, I shouldn't say it like that. She's a great kid, great baby. But thankfully I think it's because of that whole kind of separation anxiety, or that kind of, I just want that kind of in the moment comfort, that normally what we can do is we can pick her up, change her, give her passy again, and she's good to go. We can put her back down after a little bit of a bottle. Hey, Jacked Up, thank you for becoming a subscriber. I greatly appreciate it. Howdy, I'm up with my 9-year-old myself. There you go. There you go. So you decided to check out YouTube while hanging out with your kid. I greatly appreciate it. But yeah, normally she's really good enough to where we can actually just kind of, give her a small bottle, a kind of, general kind of comforting, and then give her a passing, and she'll be right back out. Oh, hey, push the right. Oh, hey, there's cars back there. Come on, have the skills. Have the skills. It's kind of easy at 9 miles an hour. I think just about everybody has the skills at 9 miles an hour. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I don't know what it is, but like I said, she's almost 2 now, and just all of a sudden she just started like 5 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. Like one here recently, which really kind of blew me and my wife away, she ended up waking up at like midnight. And she's never done this. Never. In almost 2 years has she woken up like at midnight to just start fussing. kind of thing. So again, like we typically do, we'll pick her up, we'll give her a bottle, change her, make sure she's nice and clean and all that stuff, and then we put her back down and she's out. She's one of the few kids I've ever seen. I've never experienced this before being a father, but she's one of the only kids I've ever seen where you can put her to bed at 9 o'clock and she's excited. She's excited to go to sleep. And this is an every night thing. You know, we'll tell her, okay, baby, time to go to night night, and she'll go running for her door to her room. And then if the door isn't open, she'll start knocking on it, going knock, knock, knock. And we'll put her down in her bed, and literally within 5 minutes, if that, she'll be out like a light. I've never seen another child do this. And my wife and I, we keep saying we are the luckiest parents in the world because of this. You know, being able to sleep through the night as early and as often as we have. We recognize we've been spoiled. We have been very, very spoiled and blessed. I should say it that way. We've been very blessed. But like I said, if you got kids, let me know. Let me know if your kids are as easy as that. Like, I've never heard of it before. I've never heard of it. You know, I've got a couple of nieces that I've been very close with. I've been watching them grow up. They're now 7 and 9 years old, and I've just never experienced it being that. I don't want to say easy, but that kind of, well, I mean, for lack of a better word, easy. Any tips for a newborn? So, are you looking for anything in particular tips? Or are you looking for just, I mean, one of the best tips I could give to any new parent is, first things first, make sure that you learn the swaddle technique. Learn it to where, and practice it as much and as often as you can. Get very, very good with it, because that will be the make or break difference between your child having an okay night's sleep and a good night's sleep. When the child is first born and they're a newborn, if you're not doing that swaddle just right, then it's a very huge disconnect for them. They that swaddle is the kind of reassurance that they're still kind of in the womb kind of thing, that kind of comfort that they have. So getting good with that swaddle and really making sure that your swaddle game is at its peak, it really makes the difference, kind of thing. And it makes them feel comforted and very kind of like still in that kind of womb feeling kind of thing. And that was probably one of the best things that I did as a new father, is learn that swaddle technique. Took it very, very serious when the nurse at the hospital taught us that technique. That all of a sudden like was a game changer. And I looked up videos. I looked up, you know, different methods to do it, different approaches, kind of thing, to that best kind of work that stays secure and all that stuff. It's a game changer. Keeps escaping the swaddle. So my best advice for that is look up some YouTube videos that will show you like different techniques to best cinch down the swaddle, because there's oh, even better, so there's other types of swaddles on Amazon too, where they actually have like Velcro. So we actually bought one of those when my daughter was young, and it made it to where all the swaddle techniques that I did learn were kind of not necessary at that point. But for, I think it was like 10 to 20 bucks, somewhere in that ballpark. It's a Velcro swaddle to where it just takes the guesswork out of it. And then you don't have to worry about them, kind of shimmying out, and you know because oftentimes what I find is, especially when my daughter was growing up, is when oh, I misread that, jacked up. A 9-day-old. Oh, that makes so much more sense now. That makes so much more sense. Okay. Wow, I'm sorry. Okay. So, like I said, they make these swaddles that actually have like Velcro, uh, that will prevent the baby from actually escaping. So take a look at that. Make sure you read the reviews on them too, because there are times where not all of them are built equally, and they're not all they're not all going to be, I don't want to say as safe for a newborn kind of thing. Like I said, do some research, check it out. But that's probably one of the best things I can tell you is check out one of those self-adhesive swaddles. Um, Also check out some. Oh, there we go. I was wondering what was going on there. Oh, hey, we're in a tree. Um, Let me think. Let me think. So I don't know if you've experienced any of this just yet. I don't know if you're doing formula or anything like that. If you're doing, breastfeeding or anything like that. Whoa, hey, why is that a thing? What's going on here? Things are happening. Figure it out. Um, but once you introduce formula, make sure, and I'm telling you this from personal experience with everything that has happened in the most recent future, or not most recent future, the most recent past. Um, Make sure that you keep a good steady supply of formula. And the reason I say that, and I'm still seeing it to this day, is when the whole 2020 episode happened and all that. There was and to some, why is this, why why is this a thing? Okay, let's go at it another way. What is the definition of sanity? Is trying the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Anyways, so look out and make sure that you're keeping a good steady supply of formula in the home. And the reason I say that is, back when 2020 was happening and all this stuff, there was actually the big time shortages. And my wife and I unfortunately pay far too much attention to the news and all that stuff. That's part of the reason why I don't tend to like to talk about politics on this channel and stuff like that. Is this is kind of the hangout. Whoa, what? Like, hey, what's going on? Something's happening. I'm not steering. I'm not doing anything. This is the game. It's stuff happening. I don't know what just happened. I have no idea what just happened. It just started driving. I could steer. I couldn't do nothing. Anyways, yeah. So with all the kind of political stuff that was going on at the time, with and then on top of it, there was a formula plant in Michigan, of all places, that was shut down because it basically failed health inspections. Kids were getting sick and things like that. So there was big time shortages. Thankfully, in this regard, I did pay attention to the news and a lot of things. So I was able to kind of see all this stuff coming and ended up buying, more than enough formula to be able to make sure that we were able to ride out any of the silliness. But if you have a kid that has, especially if you have a child that has any kind of special formula needs, like sensitive stomachs or anything along those lines, make sure that you have enough to ride out a while, kind of thing, because it's one of those that if you have to all of a sudden kind of change gears and you know kind of get what you can get, kind of thing, because you kind of didn't allow yourself the ability to kind of stock up, then I can tell you that had we not stocked up, we would have been in a whole different place, a whole different mindset. And I can only imagine being a parent who's not able to find that very specific formula, that very specific stuff that their child needs to be able to be either comfortable or to just go about their day-to-day life. I could not imagine. And thankfully, we didn't have to go through that because we thought ahead, kind of thing, and we kept in touch and track of what was going on. So let's see, we mostly breastfeed but use formula so mom can get some sleep. But yes, definitely a good idea. Yeah, like I said, that's one thing. That is the biggest piece of advice I can give, is just make sure that you have a good supply as backup. Don't get so much that all of a sudden it starts going bad or something like that, because it does have an expiration date, kind of thing. Where am I going? This is, what field am I on? 16? Where am I going? Farmer's Market, to the left. But no, other pieces of advice for a 9-day-old. Ooh, you know what? Here's another good one. Do not be afraid to keep your routines. And what I mean by that is, if you have TVs and stuff playing in the background and your kid's asleep, don't be afraid to leave the TV on. Don't be afraid to have background noise. Don't be afraid to make noise when your kid's asleep. It might be jarring for a small window, but the kid gets used to it. And the problem is that if you quiet down the home, if you only make noise when the kid's awake, then what ends up happening is that they become super sensitive to noise, any kind of noise. And the smallest bit of noise then becomes, a disturbance to them. They can't sleep, they won't sleep through it, and then you're basically walking around on eggshells the whole time they're taking naps. So like I said, do not be afraid to make noise when they're asleep. It might be jarring to them at first, but kids will sleep. They will sleep, because there's about 3 things they will do reliably: cry, eat. 4 things: cry, eat, sleep, and poop. That's about it. Especially at that age, they will do those 4 things reliably. So if you keep the noise going, while they're now that kind of, I'm not saying to keep the noise going all day and night. When they're napping during the day, feel free to keep TVs running, to have conversations at normal volumes, kind of thing, because what will happen is that they will get used to that and they will adapt to it. But one one or the other is going to adapt. Either you're going to adapt to a lifestyle of never being able to make a sound, and it's going to be like the movie A Quiet Place, where if you even make the smallest hint of noise, that's going to trigger the kid to all of a sudden wake up and no longer be asleep. Or they can adapt and they'll sleep through a hurricane, kind of thing. So those are about my best bits of advice, kind of thing. And anybody else who has kids in the chat, feel free to throw some in there as well. If I missed anything, or kind of any kind of collective words of wisdom, feel free. You know, hey, no problem at all. You know, like I said, I don't claim to be an expert. These are things that worked for my wife and I. You know, and like I said, our kid's almost 2. She'll be 2 in February. But it's one of those that I can tell you from our personal experience. You know, like I said, our daughter, we'll put her to bed at 9 o'clock at night, and until here recently, she would sleep until 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, reliably, every single night. And I think it's because of the whole quote-unquote sleep regression, which, for anybody who's not familiar with what sleep regression is, that's when the child will wake up in the middle of the night and they just want to be comforted. So you can do one of two things at that point. You can either let them cry it out and give it about 15 or 20 minutes for them to cry and see if they'll go back to sleep, and see if it's truly I want comfort, or you'll go in there right away, comfort them, and try and just go over it, kind of thing. I kind of lean on the side of give them that kind of 15-20 minute window to cry it out. Now, 9 days old, that might be a bit young for that, because when they're crying, they're typically in the immediate, I want something immediate kind of stage. You know, but once they start establishing, get a little bit older, you know, that's when you can kind of, you know, reel yourself back and be like, okay, it's okay to let them cry. They're not going to break themselves by crying, kind of thing. So it's okay to just let them cry it out a little bit, give them some space to see if it's just I want to be comforted, or I actually want something legitimate. So see, this is really odd. I feel like this header is really crooked. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Did that just pitch forward? No. Yes, it did. Oh my goodness. There we go. Why does it seem like that header is just crooked? Is it me? Huh. Anyways, I don't know. It just looks, that header just looks really crooked for some reason. Like it's pitched to the same direction. Like it's not following the contours of the land like I thought it would. It's just kind of. Huh. Anyways. Maybe it is. Maybe it is following the contours. Now I'm gonna pay attention to that. Let's see. 80% there. 70% here. Oof. There's something about the road network in this map where it recognizes the road network, and you really have to keep away from the road network for the AI to work properly. I don't recall that on any other map, because like we just completed not too long ago the Let's Play of the Valley of the Old Farm, and the Valley of the Old Farm, it allowed your AI worker to like go into the road, and it would stop traffic and do all that stuff. But I noticed that on this map in particular, it doesn't really like going by the roads for some reason. Jacked up, I'm actually on console. I'm on Xbox Series X. So any kind of map tours, map updates, and just content in general, it's going to be exclusively to all platforms, kind of thing. So if there's any kind of like PC or Mac exclusive mods or exclusive, well, I don't actually do mods of any sort besides maps. But if there's any like specific maps for PC or Mac, then I tend not to touch those with the map tours or updates. But yeah, that's to kind of give you a quick overview of what the channel is. Essentially, I have 4 main kinds of content. I have Let's Plays, Let's Plays, map tours, map updates, and shorts. And the shorts will consist of things like bloopers and things. Well, I've got two series within the shorts. Essentially, it's bloopers and had to try it. And the had to try it series are things like, I just thought of something cool, I wanted to test it out and see if it was practical, and okay, it works, let me do a quick video of it, kind of thing. So this is essentially the breakdown of the channel. I was going to suggest Courseplay. Yeah, so I'm aware of Courseplay, but not 100% sure of what it is, obviously, because I don't don't play on PC. So if I understand it right, it's basically the ability to better map out, like almost like a manual mapping of the AI system to allow you to be able to have better functionality of the workers and get them to point A to point B, while at the same time being able to set up jobs like harvesting and all that stuff. It's like an actual, almost like a web matrix network that will take into account the fields and stuff like that. If that's basically, of course, smarter AI. Yep. It's pretty much my understanding of it was exactly that. Basically a smarter AI. And I wish there was Courseplay on consoles. I really do. But it's one of those, at the same time too, it kind of lends to the charm of the game, kind of thing. It's one of those adapt and overcome kind of situations, you know? So I tell you what, there's you, Jacked Up, and there's oh goodness, why can't I think of their name? Oh no, that's gonna bother me. That's gonna bother me. Why can't I think of their name? Oh, KJ Wiggums. KJ Wiggums very, very often will come on to the streams. Not here recently, I noticed, but will come on to the streams and then we'll sit there and advocate for PC. We'll sit there and have the whole, oh, you should get PC because of this. Oh, you should get PC because of that. Oh, you're missing out on this mod and you're missing out on that. It's like, oh, you're making it sound so tempting. But I'll tell you exactly what I told them too is I have a really hard time of spending money on something I've already spent the money on. So, oh, hello. So if for some reason my Xbox were to break tomorrow, then maybe, well, not even maybe, most likely I'd go to PC or Mac version. kind of thing. But it's certainly one of those that I already spent the $60 plus however much for season 1, season 2 Game Pass and all that. So unless the system were to take a break, I'd probably just stick with this for a while. Let's see. I've not played with auto drive too much. Okay. And message redacted. Let's see. So I'm gonna keep my hands over the button here real quick just to make sure that we don't sell off too much. Big money, no whammies, no whammies. Okay, perfect. Let's see. I started streaming on consoles, so I get it. Yes. It's so this channel has actually really grown and evolved over time. So I started out by streaming directly to Twitch, and that was more out of necessity than anything. Because I didn't have a PC at the time that would handle the capturing of the game and all that stuff independently from the system itself. So I'd stream to Twitch, and then I would download the contents from Twitch and post it onto YouTube with the edits and all the stuff that I wanted to have for that episode. And originally just started with Let's Plays and map tours. That was basically it. And eventually I ended up buying a brand new computer, and once I bought the new computer, I have a brother-in-law who used to stream, doesn't stream anymore, and he had a Elgato capture card that he let me borrow, and that's what I've been using ever since. And just the channel has grown and evolved from that point on. And it's thankfully because of people like him who believed in me, people like Crimea River, Jody, everybody, and now most recently yourself, who like the content, who believe in the kind of mission statement that is this channel of bringing just entertaining content to people. That Sylvan, thank you for being a new subscriber. I greatly appreciate you subscribing to the channel. Where was I going? What was I saying? But it's one of those that thankfully to people who has put their faith into me and into the channel, that has allowed this channel to grow and become what it is today. And I was saying earlier how grateful I am to every single one of my subscribers, every one of my members, every single person who watches and enjoys this content that I create. I greatly appreciate every single one of you. Let's see. I have a PC working on modding a map. Really? Working on you're actually creating a map. That's awesome. Well, I can't wait for it to get released, and I can't wait to do a tour of it. So that's one of the things that I do on this channel is I do map tours. I also do map updates. So I keep kind of a running log of any kind of activity that occurs to maps. And as far as I'm aware, I'm one of the few, if only, content creators who actually kind of follows a map from kind of start to finish kind of thing. So it's one of those that I really look forward to seeing it. Do you have a particular, divulge this information if you want to, but you don't have to. Don't feel like you're obligated to. But is it based on a particular place? Is it fictional? Is it realistic? Let's see. Using real... Oh, okay. To make the map. That's awesome. Pipe and Paul, how you doing? How's it going? Hope I hear. Blah, 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 blah. Words are hard. Take a, whew, take a breath. Paul, how are you doing today? Sorry. Words are hard. I've said that a lot tonight. It's one of those that it is getting late my time. I don't know what time it is anybody else's time, but it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. So we're going to be finishing out these pair of contracts here and wrapping this up. Stratford, Pennsylvania. Nice. Nice. I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to that. I'll be honest, this is the first time where I've had like quote unquote insider information like this, knowing about a map before it's released. That's kind of cool. English is not my first language and still can't speak it. Okay, okay. Well, hey, you know what? It's one day at a time. One day at a time kind of thing. Are you trying to learn English, or are you 5:45 in the morning in the UK? Whoo! Boy, you are up early, Paul. Holy smokes. Any particular reason you're up so early? Is it getting ready to go to work, or just one of those couldn't sleep kind of moments? Oh, reread it, bud. English is... Oh, English is my first... Oh, jeez. See, first it's the 9-day-old, and I took it as a 9-year-old. Now it's... Ay, ay, ay. It's one of those, I unfortunately read things too quickly. So, I just kind of fill in the words that where I shouldn't be. I should be trying better at work, unfortunately. Oof. Oof, I hear you there. I'm gonna, like I said, it's one of those, I got work in the morning as well, so I'm gonna have to wrap this up here pretty soon myself. But English is my first language and still can't speak. That's even better. Thank you for making me reread that. Oh, I love it. Love it. It's one of those that sometimes I feel like my brain works in slow motion compared to my mouth, which oftentimes gets me into trouble, especially with my wife. Sometimes I'll just say something without my brain thinking it. And yeah. So earlier I was giving baby advice, and this is going to go out to all the men out there. Especially when you're speaking to anybody of the opposite sex, think about what you're going to say before you say it. Don't just say words. Don't just do that. That's bad. As a man who's been married for over 10 years, has been married since 2013, don't just say words. It'll end badly for everyone. Think before you speak. Pro tip. Facts. Oh, goodness. Oh, yeah. It's one of those that even in even doing YouTube and stuff like that, I have to really kind of catch myself from just saying words and really trying to make sure that I have a coherent thought, which is sometimes very hard for me because, again, my brain works slower than my mouth. My mouth is infinitely faster than my brain. So, one of those that I have to sit here and train myself and make sure that I'm not just saying words just to fill in dead space or fill in air and kind of things. I need to make sure that I'm okay with the kind of voids in the conversation to make sure that what I'm saying isn't the least effective thing to say. So, whew. And like I said, it's hard. It's so hard. Oh my goodness. Do I have a front? I do not have a front 3-point link. So backing this up is going to be fun. This is going to be a boatload of fun. Oh my goodness. 5:45 in the UK, and wow. I tell you what, it's really something to think of. And I said this in several live streams, and I even touched on it a little bit just a little while ago. But it's so wild to think of the technology that we have now versus when I was a kid. I'm almost 40 years old. I'll be 40 in November. And to think when I was a kid, if I wanted to talk to somebody in the UK, I was writing a letter. And I've actually done that before. Like growing up, we had these things called pen pals. You know, for younger people in the audience, you might not know what a pen pal is, but essentially it's just you sending a letter to some, well, oftentimes it was either through school or it was through like some kind of program specifically, but they would have people ready to receive your mail from either other countries or other states or whatever the case may be. And what would happen is, you know, you'd write a letter and kind of introduce yourself, and then you'd get the letter back, you know, several months later, because again, it's via the mail. So, you know, it'd be going overseas or whatnot, and eventually, you know, you kind of build a rapport and you'd be talking back and forth kind of thing. You know, that's what was essentially done back in the day, and towards the, what is happening here? Like I said, backing up a swivel axle trailer can be, ooh, it can be so much fun, so much fun. Gotta love it. There we go, there we go. Drive it home. Perfect. Perfect. So now that is, oh, no, don't complete it yet. Don't complete it yet. Warning, warning, danger, Will Robinson, danger. Ooga, ooga. Now we can complete it. Oh, hey. Oh, I hear you there, Jacked Up. Those, they can be such a pain. Now, one way that you can kind of work around and make it a little bit easier on yourself is that if you have a tractor with a front 3-point link, that's why I was looking earlier. If you have a tractor with a front 3-point link, you can actually come at it from the front side of your tractor. Why? And if you come at it from the front side of your tractor, it's actually a bit easier to steer, because your tractor, the wheels being closer to the actual pivot point, you have a bit of a tighter turning radius and a bit more responsive. And you're also not thinking about it in reverse kind of thing, so you're not having to back up and think, okay, well, if I make a left, I'm actually going to go right, and if I go right, I'm going to go left, and like all that stuff. You're not having to remember all that stuff, but in reality, you're just kind of have to, you know, just drive it forwards kind of thing. So it's, for me personally, it's a little bit easier. But unfortunately, that specific tractor didn't have a front 3-point link, and which means that I'm having to back it up the hard way. Here we go. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. No, hey, stop. Turn on the engine. Well, I can tell you that you're blocked by an object, and it's because I can be a silly person from time to time. I literally worked the harvester to go... I disengaged the worker for the harvester to get around the tractor, and then I just fired it back up like it was going to do something different. Again, definition of insanity, anybody? Doing a task or doing something over and over and over, expecting there to be a different result? Ay, ay, ay. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Wow, I really feel like this is going so slow. I don't feel like it should be going this slow. What if I go this way? What if I go... Work smarter, not harder. That's something my father used to tell me all the time. Dave, work smarter, not harder. And it's like, oh, I'm trying. I'm trying to work smarter. So I'm hoping... Oh, see, it's even pitched in this direction, too. It looks like it's not as pitched, maybe? I don't know. So, let's see how it handles in this direction. So 6 miles an hour is the working speed. Okay, this is where we're gonna find out. 4, 3, ugh. Come on. It's like that movie, The Sandlot. You're killing me, Smalls. Again, for those that have watched this channel for a while now, you'll know that every once in a while, and for no reason, I get these random kind of either old movie clips or just random sayings that just all of a sudden pop into my brain. Don't know why. Don't even know why that one just came into my head. But they happen. And hopefully y'all find them entertaining, because maybe it's a little blast from the past for yourselves. But yeah, The Sandlot, good movie. Still holds up, I think. You know, little boy trying to get his Babe Ruth baseball back. It was signed by some girl, Baby Ruth. Babe Ruth! The Sultan of SWAT, the Great Bambino! Holy cow, you mean it's the same guy? Oh my goodness. Oh man. Just gotta love it. Just gotta love those classic movies. That's, you know, back in the day, back when they actually tried with movies. I've said this again a few times on the channel, but I really feel like movies have gone so far downhill that I don't know, they're just not worth writing home about most of the time. It's very rare that, especially nowadays, that I can really kind of get excited about a movie of any sort, really. It's just about the closest I've come to here lately are generally scary movies, like horror movies, and really kind of like the supernatural ones. Those ones tend to be like pretty solid, because they, I mean, I'm sure it can be done, but it's kind of hard to mess up on a kind of paranormal or kind of a movie along those lines, like some kind of like supernatural kind of thriller kind of movie. And it's kind of hard to mess something like that up. I'm not saying it's impossible, but certainly more difficult than the average who just wants some spooky stuff happening, and you know, all of a sudden you know, tension happens in the home, and you got to figure out ways to resolve it, kind of thing. It's pretty formulaic for the most part. You know, you want a good example, see the movie The Conjuring. You know, that's pretty solid movie series. The Conjuring, and let's see, there's the Conjuring series, Annabelle, Uh, the Nun, just coming out with another Nun here soon. I think it's in theaters right now. Actually, I'm actually looking forward to see that. Um, Curse of La Lorena, I think that's also in the same universe. Yeah, give if any of those kind of movies are up your alley, give them a try. If you're into the kind of like the supernatural kind of thriller, scary movie kind of thing, give those a whirl. Those are really solid movies. If you like if you like to be scared, a little heart racing from time to time, get the blood pumping. I know I do. Uh, yeah, it's good. Good set. Good movie. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just looking at something real quick on my PC. Oh, wages. Oh, you know what? We're starting to get into after hours. 9 o'clock. It's 1900 at 7 o'clock. Yeah, so I'm starting to pay that overtime wage. So for those who aren't aware, you're actually charged two separate rates for your AI hires. You have a daytime rate and then a nighttime rate, and the nighttime rate's actually more expensive. So if you want to save money when using AI, hire them before, I think it's 5 or 6 o'clock. Don't quote me on the time, but yeah, there is a sundown hour is it is available on this. So yeah, it gets pretty expensive. Like you saw there was $1,300 for an hour. Which yeah, $1,300. It's you can get a fair bit of accomplished with $1,300. Holy cow! Let's see. Oh, and this is going to the. Okay, this is going over to the cereal. The resale cereal. There we go. Now that the. Don't do that. Now that the ground over here is more flat, the harvester's operating properly and unloading properly. Hey! Nice. Get this all loaded up and take it over for sales. Oh, come on. Come on. Let's see. I think this road actually leads all the way over in this direction. Out towards. It does. Oh, this is, yeah, okay. Yeah, this is the road that leads to the farm right here. So I can just take this and. Oh, hey. Well, cool. I'm glad that glad I was able to tell you that. It's funny. I'll say certain things, and then I'll get people like, "Oh, hey, I didn't know that. That's cool to know." And whoa, easy. Again, that whole random things that just pop into my head every once in a while, right there. Whenever the trailer's like Fishtail, I always get that the movie the Ice Age with the dinosaurs and stuff like that from, well, not dinosaurs, but you know, the John Leguizamo and who played the sloth. He's got that scene where he's riding on skis down a snowy hill, and all of a sudden he's like going back and forth, weaving back, you know, slalom, baby. He's got that big lisp. His character does. And every time I get that fishtail going in going in the tractors or going in this game just in general. That's always, every time that punch just pops up into my head. I don't know why. Don't know why. Gotta love it. I just... oh, hey, well, that's good to know. That's not gonna hit a roof or anything like that. My trailer is magic. Oh, hey. Did I seriously just deliver like almost the perfect amount in one trip? Oh my goodness. So Jacked Up and Paul, both of you are new to the channel, so I just want you to know that it is 1 o'clock in the morning my time, and typically when the streams start to get this late, typically anytime past midnight my time, is when things start to get a little silly. I start to kind of get giggly and stuff like that, and it's because I'm tired. But yeah, so if I seem a little extra kind of giggly and peppy right now, that's why. That's why. Let's see. Time for work. Thanks for the stream. Hey, Paul, thanks for stopping by. I hope you have a great day at work and just a great day in general. You know, thank you for subscribing as well. Greatly, greatly appreciate that as well. But yeah, like I said, hope you have a great day at work and a great day in general. And good hanging out with you. Like I said, we're gonna wrap up this particular field, this particular contract, and I think after that we're gonna call it an evening, because it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and like I said, it's getting late, and I've got to work in the morning. But I want to again, whoa, slalom. I want to make one more big deal for Jody. Today was Jody's birthday, and this was Jody's birthday stream. So Jody, thank you again for being such a good friend of the channel and being such a good bud in general. I greatly appreciate you. Happy birthday to you. As we're starting to kind of wind down and bring this stream to its close. It's no longer your birthday today, as it is 1 o'clock in the morning, our time, as we share a time zone. But happy birthday for you yesterday. Like I said, birthday stream for you. I wanted to make sure that I set the stream up specifically for you, so I got a chance to be able to actually wish you as in person as this can be, a happy birthday. So, like I said, it's awesome being here tonight with everybody. Awesome wishing. Wait a minute, what just happened? Oh no, okay. Sorry. For some reason I thought that I was missing out on material. I only had 2 liters, and I forgot I'd loaded everything that the harvester already had in it into the trailer. So again, that's how late it is getting for me, and how tired things are, is I'm getting goofy and forgetful. Gotta love it. Like I said, gotta love it. But thankfully we are right here by the farm, and I can go straight to the farm. I don't have to do anything besides that. So let's go ahead and drop this off. 3,767 liters of barley. That is not too bad. Not too bad at all. Love it. Like it, love it. Want some more of it. Again, random things popping in my head. A little bit of Tim McGraw. Nothing wrong with that. Back side of the farm right here. And before we go, I'm going to talk about one thing just really fast. Yeah, because it's something I kind of briefly touched on in the last episode, but I want to kind of show it in further detail. So let's go here. Whew, nice. Got a decent amount of products getting squirreled away. I like that. All right, so we're just going to pull into the backside here. So in the last episode, episode 13, we installed this because we ended up buying all of the greenhouses. So for those who aren't familiar with this, this is the distributor, this particular mod right here. Now what this mod does, I'm going to go ahead and collect on this real quick, is it acts as a storage silo for things like water, seeds, solid fertilizer, and manure. And what it's meant to do is just be a distribution point. So you can take all these items that are typically available for your greenhouses, like water, like seeds. Typically, base greenhouse is just water. So you can take and fill this up, and then all of a sudden you have a way to be able to distribute automatically the inputs for your greenhouses. So what's nice about this and what I'm using it for is essentially I, in the Let's Play, made it to where a courier service, quote unquote courier service, is coming out to collect the products that I place into this and distribute them to my various greenhouses that I have bought in the last episode. Now, if I scroll up, you can see here we've got these two here, the shrub greenhouse and the very large greenhouse. Both of these are now producing and are distributing at the top of each hour to these particular things. I don't have to worry about these anymore. I don't have to sit here and go from the farm or from the shop and deliver goods to it. I can just buy it and bring it here. I've got a fertilizer silo over there, so I can buy fertilizer there and bring it over here for distribution. So it's just a nice little way to be able to get all of your products into one location and then be able to pass it along from there. Now, I do have some issues where, because I have inputs from, or I have similar inputs in this particular mod, this farm supplies production, from the distributions from here, they could theoretically go here. So what I ended up doing was, for the water, I just maxed it out here. So you can see 2 million liters of water here in the farm productions. And then now what's going to happen is it's going to try and move water into here, but it can't because it's full. It won't accept anything more. So it's always going to go into the area that's not full, which is the greenhouses. So you can see here, the greenhouses are full, and at the top of each hour, they'll stay full. And then they're also going to get their solid fertilizer, and they're also going to get their seeds, kind of thing. Now, one thing I'll say for those who are not familiar with this, if you have something like this, get it as full as possible. There's a reason why I have water at 500,000 liters. Is because the more of a single product that you have in your distribution centers, the more product will ship at time of shipping. So if you have, let's say 1,000 liters, well, it's going to only take a percentage of that 1,000 liters and then distribute it out amongst your various other production points. So it's, let's say 10%. Well, 10% of 1,000, that's what, it's 100. It's going to take 100 liters and distribute it evenly amongst the areas that will accept it. Well, if you have 100,000, it still takes that 10%. Well, then you have even more product getting shipped out to and being evenly distributed amongst all the other intakes. So it's one of those, like, if seeds and solid fertilizer didn't cost so much, then I would have these full as well. But because they cost an arm and a leg for the most part, that's why they kind of sit where they sit. But I need to figure out a way to be able to get more product in the door for this so that all these kind of fill up. So you can see how water is all full here. It's because I have such a high concentration of water in this facility. It's taking more product all at once. But it's not full on the seeds and solid fertilizer. There's incredibly small comparatively. Now, thankfully, because of the recipes, they don't take a lot of solid fertilizer or seeds. So it's one of those that it all kind of works out at the end because it's not taking a lot, it's not going to absorb a lot. So at the end of the day, it all works out. But I think this will be a good spot for us to bid a fond farewell. I hope everybody had a blast tonight. I know I certainly did, as I said numerous times tonight. Awesome being able to hang out with y'all and got to meet a couple of new people tonight. Jacked Up, really appreciated you finding the channel, hanging out with us tonight, and being able to become a subscriber. I greatly appreciate it, as well as I'm trying to bring up my list again. Paul, also appreciate you hanging out with us tonight, subscribing to the channel as well. Greatly appreciate every single one of you who's hung out with me tonight, signed up to be a subscriber. Again, I hope everybody has enjoyed this. If you did, please show me by liking, sharing, subscribing, following, commenting, doing all the things the algorithms enjoy you doing that shows you're engaged with this channel and enjoying the content. And that being said, I hope everybody has a fantastic day or night or wherever you're at. Everybody, take care.